Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Sunday, and man, I'll tell you, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight because it looks like Justin Trudeau could resign tomorrow. There are reports he's ready to do it. There's a big caucus meeting scheduled, I believe, and Mark Carney, former Bank of Canada governor, has been out there glad-handing, positioning himself to take a run at the leadership, to take Trudeau's job. Volodymyr Zelensky is praising Trump. It looks like he's trying to butter him up a little bit ahead of any possible peace negotiations that may or may not come when Trump is inaugurated. And Ukraine has launched new offensives, or a new offensive, into the Kursk region inside Russian territory. So we'll bring you the latest on that as well. It's a cold one out there too. High winds all over the place, and we'll give you a chance to weigh in on the conversation tonight by calling in at 1-519-401-1373. And I will, in fact, you know what? We'll probably go to the phones early tonight as we try to sift through all of today's top news stories. We'll try to take a look at the latest developments in the investigation into the Cybertruck bomber in Vegas and the New Year's Day terror attack investigation out of New Orleans as well. So don't go away. There's a lot of ground to cover. And here's the phone number to call. We'll kind of keep that rolling through the broadcast tonight. We'll cover today's top news stories and take calls in between. Okay, Mavericks, it's call-in time. Join the conversation. Call now, 1-519-401-1373. 1-519-401-1373. Exercise your right to free speech. That's 1-519-401-1373. That's 1-519-401-1373. Maverick News. Call now. The world is watching and listening to you.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are Maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching Maverick News. The world is watching.
All right, I'm back. Here, I'll put that number up on the screen there for you too, while I think about it. There you go. If you want to call in during the broadcast tonight, you can do that at 1519-401-1373. Let's start by talking about Justin Trudeau. Boy, I'll tell you, the knives are out. And we're hearing that Trudeau could resign as early as tomorrow. Who's excited? A lot of people. Now, we're hearing that, maybe he will, maybe he won't. He's apparently looking for some way to step aside, save face, maybe even hang around until midsummer until after, I think, the G7 conference coming up. And then have some sort of a leadership convention in between, and we'll see how that goes. I'm not sure how he would be able to do that. I guess set a date when he's actually going to go. I don't know. And then Pierre Poilievre, he's positioned himself pretty well, and he just did that interview with Jordan Peterson, which is getting heavy traction on the internet. And then Brian Lilly from Toronto Sun managed to score a sidebar interview with him. Well, sidebar to us, major to him. Let's start with that as we prepare for Trudeau's imminent departure, or what appears to be.
Made jokes in one of her speeches about the fact that nobody knows how to say your name. And so I thought I'd jump right in and ask you the tough question first. How do you say your last name? Because I'll tell you, known you a long time, Pierre, that is a question that I get asked a lot by people who've started to notice you and aren't quite sure what you're all about. How do you say his name?
The simplest way for an Anglophone to say it is Poilievre, but it has been said many different ways. It's a name that comes directly from France. My father's grandfather came from, so my great-grandfather, he came directly from France to Saskatchewan. And so in France, they tend to roll the last R, Poilievre, but no one says it that way here. So Poilievre is fine. I'm easy with first name basis. At the end of the day, Brian, I don't care how you say my name as long as you know how to put an X beside it on election day.
He is getting a lot of traction with that Jordan Peterson interview, but it is true, nobody knows how to pronounce his name. He's doing really well for a guy whose name no one can pronounce, especially for a guy. He's doing extremely well when you consider that he's getting all this international attention, a lot of U.S. conservative leaning or just plain right-wing influencers online taking note of Poilievre, saying he will be the next Prime Minister of Canada, and nobody can say his name. Ben Shapiro talking about Trudeau possibly resigning, and it's also kind of funny listening to some of these U.S. pundits talk about Canadian politics here. Before we get into too much Trudeau stuff, let's take a look at this. Here's Shapiro talking about Poilievre. Anyway, Shapiro can say Pierre's name properly. He's a pretty sharp guy.
The reality is that when it comes to Canada, Justin Trudeau is in almost the single digits in terms of approval rating. He is going to resign at some point. The only question is whether that is going to trigger a new election. Poilievre if the election were held today, would easily be prime minister, probably with the largest conservative majority of any Western country right now. There's a reason for that. And the reason for that is because he's speaking in precisely these terms, that the dream is family, house, dog, being able to earn, make sure that your kids have more wealth than your parents gave you. Right? These are the dreams. Whether it's the Canadian dream or the American dream, that's the dream. That's the thing people are seeking. That is a very different dream from I get to screw whoever I want without any consequence and society needs to pay for it. That is not the dream. That was never the Canadian dream. That was never the American dream. That was never the Western dream. And in fact, those two dreams are in direct opposition to one another. And that is not an argument for government regulation of personal sexual relationships, for example. Maybe it is on a local level, but it is certainly not on a sort of broad level. But as a matter of morality and societal directionality, the direction needs to be directed toward family and away from radical sexual individualism as the ethos. Here's Pierre Poilievre.
Met another guy at the Labrat Brewery a few days ago, and you can watch the video of me talking with him. He walked up to me and he said, I have 3 jobs and I can't make it. We're renting. We have no hope. We've given up on ever owning a home. We're renting. We can barely make it. And he said to me, I feel ashamed when I talk to my kids because they ask me why I'm never around and why we can never have a house. And I feel like a failure. But he didn't fail. He has been failed.
That's right.
He has been robbed of the promise of Canada. It was a very simple promise that if you worked hard, you got a good life. Now, it wasn't fancy or extravagant, but you got a house with a yard where you could have kids playing safely. And you could have a nice dog that you could afford to feed along with the kids. And your kids could play safely in the streets. That was the promise. Now, politicians break promises all the time. But you know what was bad about this promise? This promise didn't belong to this prime minister. It wasn't his promise to break.
Yep.
It belonged to all of us.
And that is exactly right. Now, you could hear that same speech coming out of the mouth of somebody to the left. But people on the left will then say it's the government's job to provide you the house, the dog, and the wealth. And you have no obligations in turn. That's not what Poilievre is saying. He is saying that the dream is that if you act responsibly and dutifully, you will get ahead in the West. And that is the dream. And here's the thing. All you have to do is unchain the people. That's all you have to do. All you have to do is encourage them to act in a socially responsible fashion, to actually build families. And all this sort of bizarre anti-woman hatred that you see from a reactionary right online sometimes that says, well, you know, what do you owe to women? The answer that men owe to women is you owe it to them to be good husbands and good fathers.
Okay, so I think that, you know, Shapiro is sort of right. I think what it boils down to is for Trudeau, he'll campaign largely on social issues and he'll lose if he campaigns. I think the Liberals will just do that, period. And that's what he has been using to, I guess, unite people on his side of the political spectrum, right? And Poilievre is focused on the economy. It's the economy, stupid. That's the old phrase, right? And I think that, well, you can see it in the poll numbers now. The Conservatives at least 20 points ahead and ready to form the largest majority in Canadian history. That's what would happen if an election were held today. And we have our first caller of the night on the line. Who's with us? Hello, go ahead. You're on the air.
Oh, hello. All right. So, yes, I just wanted to respond to basically Justin Trudeau resigning. I do not believe that, knowing his personality and how he wants to cling on to power no matter what, his whole party seems to be against him. Everyone has left him. Now we got Mendocino that's just left as well. And basically, it's caving everywhere around him. But he's not finished yet in terms of the way he thinks, because he thinks like a dictator. He's got to put through the stuff come hell or high water. I believe what he will try and do is prorogue Parliament. There'll be private members' bills that can go through, and he will create more of his crazy world. And really, if he goes to the Governor General, I don't know if she would accept the fact that he wants to prorogue because it's because of saving the Liberal Party or his. But I don't know if she'll go for that. But again, anything is possible. But I do feel, with Donald Trump and the pressure he's putting on Canada to close our borders, to clean up the fentanyl and the mass migration, we are a threat to the United States. I personally don't believe that Donald Trump wants us to be a 51st state. I think he's just trying to, play around, basically. But I think in general, he wants to get rid of the WHO, the United Nations, and all of the stuff that is plaguing the world right now. And he's just beginning. They're trying to throw everything at him right now, too. So everything is a huge, crazy mess. And I think that Trudeau is just going to try and hang on to power for as long as he can. And then maybe people will forget it. If they prorogue Parliament, then all of the stuff around the investigations, with the slush fund, with the billions of dollars that nobody can account for, it will all be sort of forgotten and pushed under the rug, just like SNC Lavalin and all of these other things. I think, people are really waking up now, but there's not a lot we, the people, can do at this point because everything is tied up in legalistic craziness. So there has to be some kind of massive proof of something that will shock everybody to get him taken down from his position of power. I really don't know how this is going to play out, but I do not think that he's going to resign. That would be admitting that he messed up, that he didn't do a good job. And as far as he's concerned, he's not done with Canada. Like, he's not done with destroying our country. Sorry, it's not funny, but I just feel that we might be in for a ride. If they do prorogue, we might be going for months and months without Parliament. I don't know. Anything can happen at this point, but I know what we do need is an election like yesterday. That's what we really need. Resigning is not going to do it. Replacing him with Freeland or Carney or whatever, they're all part of the same globalist crazy people. So it's just the way I see that. But anyway, I'm hoping that they decide to do a non-confidence vote through all of this, and that will get us through it.
Can I ask you a question? When you say globalist, what do you mean by that?
Okay, so there are a lot of countries in Europe. There are countries all over the world that basically they're part of this one world sustainable development goals. So they have the Agenda 2030. Basically, they have everything pocketed, like health, human resources, everything about culture, and they want everything under one umbrella. So our destiny, everything in the free world, is basically going to be controlled by a handful of people that are unelected. It's already happening, but you've got Macron, you've got Germany, you've got all of these leaders in all these countries that have come together and said, we're going to band together and we're going to have our new world order. And so it's certainly not good for the globe. It's not good for humanity. All of our freedoms will be taken away. We will be under a total communist type regime. And so a lot of things have been done behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know about. And I think that if people just start off looking at sustainable development and where that came from and what it means, it will wake up a lot of people. I think more and more people are starting to figure that out. But there needs to be a whole lot more truth that's spoken.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Carney, he's already out there lobbying for the job. He's a smart guy. He's well connected. You're seeing even now Liberal Riding Association presidents calling for Trudeau to step aside. So there's like massive pressure from even within the party itself. Do you not think that kind of pressure from within is not going to force him to do something? Not only does he not have the support of the House, he doesn't even have the support of his own party to the degree that a leader really needs in order to effectively govern. And so how can he possibly function? And yeah, he can prorogue, but I just don't know how he can survive this at this point. You think he still has the ability to do that?
Yeah, I kind of do, because he is a total narcissist and he's a dictator. So I think in his mind, he's the king, and he will say what is to be said. I believe all of the MPs signed an agreement that they would not do anything to try and take him down as a leader. Like they would not vote for that or whatever. I don't know, but there's a lot of things that he's basically controlled. His caucus and committees and whatever, and he's gotten away with it for 9 years. Now, maybe he won't at this time. I don't know, but I don't think he is going to easily resign. Not from where his head is. He still thinks he can win an election.
So, yeah.
I don't know. Like, you're not talking about somebody who is mentally there. I really have such a hard time with where his head is at. He thinks that he's infallible. He thinks that he's, the king. And when he orders things, it's going to be done now. And he'll just, you're gone, and that's fine. And so many women he's thrown under the bus, like Raybould and all these other people, and he just has no problem. He's your best friend until you disagree with him. So I think he has a huge stronghold on the people around him. The committee might try and pressure him, but he might try and wangle himself out of this and say, well, look, how about we prorogue? Let's, maybe even have a leadership race, but let me stay in power long enough to do whatever. And maybe people will forget about the investigations or whatever. I don't know what he's going to say. I know they're having like a 6-hour caucus meeting on Wednesday. Who knows what's going to go on with that? But the whole thing is just craziness. It's just unbelievable. I've never in my life seen anything like this. It's like we have totally lost our freedom. Our country is collapsing and is busting at the seams. We can't afford to have him in for another day. The damage this party has done with Jagmeet Singh as well, and there's this guy too. Like I personally hope the NDP and Liberal Party just don't exist anymore, and there are other smaller parties, but let them rise up or something, because these people are total dictators. They're communist minded, socialist minded, and it breaks my heart to see so many small businesses tank, people losing their homes, people that can't feed their kids anymore. They've totally stripped and stolen everything from us. And it's time we take back our country. It really is. And so, to me, this has to be a total non-confidence vote, and these people need to be done with, however that's going to look like.
Where do you stand on the political spectrum? Or do you consider yourself a conservative or what?
Yeah, I'm definitely conservative. No question about that. I do like what Poilievre has to say. At the same time, what I'm not so sure about is that he is not really willing to give up the Paris Accord, which to me means that he is very much still on board with the sustainable development or the climate change, which to me is a massive control mechanism to fuel a lot of pockets, a lot of money exchanges. We need to use our natural resources. We need to start drill baby drill, like Trump says. So I see our country being a whole lot freer, and the system that we have been running on is not working anymore. So there has to be like a massive shift and change, and I'm not sure. At the moment, we don't really have another alternative to Poilievre. I like Maxime Bernier, but he does not have enough. I basically went door knocking for Maxime Bernier, like back in like 2018 or whatever, and people liked him, but they didn't want to split the vote. Well, now more than ever, they're not going to want to split the vote. So, I think that's the problem. People just you either vote one way or another way, and they're afraid to do anything in between, and that's a huge problem that we have, that we're not willing to take a risk on a new person or a new party. Even if they gave them a few seats, at least it's something. I mean, we got Elizabeth May with 1 seat. Like, I don't even know how she's even there still. I mean, it's such a mess. We just need a massive shift. We need to have something totally rebuilt in Canada that's a free country, that we can make our own decisions, live our own lives the way we want to. If you want to identify as a unicorn, that's great, but don't tell me I have to identify you as a unicorn. I mean, this whole insane woke culture has got to be decimated, and Donald Trump's going to do that in the United States, and it will come to Canada too. So I have a lot of hope for that, but man, oh man, in the meantime, it's just like I feel like I've been living in a total, like, insane world. Everything that's been going on.
One last question.
Yeah.
When you say the woke culture has to be decimated, I've just been reading some philosophy in the last week. And so I'm trying to wrap my head around the philosophy while kind of overlaying that onto exactly what you're talking about, which of course I'm familiar with, but I'm just trying to get your perspective to see if it meshes with my understanding of when you say decimate the woke culture. What does that look like for you, and who or what is it exactly that would be decimated? Would it be like the Liberal Party, or is it an ideology? Or
it's an ideology.
Yeah?
It's an ideology. It's actual Marxist kind of ideology, where basically people don't have an identity. So we're all equal. We're all, diverse. We're all, inclusive. And the thing is that, when you start telling people, well, I identify as a woman and I'm a man, so therefore I have all the rights of a woman. I want to take showers with children. I mean, this is just, it's crazy town. I'm sorry, but scientifically, if you look at yourself and you go, hey, you know what, I got this part and that part, like I'm a boy. Now, if you have a problem with that, I mean, you're not even allowed to question anybody. They're not allowed to get help, especially for children. My huge concern is for children, because they're being so messed up in schools, and they're telling them, well, what do you choose today? Do you think you're a boy or a girl? I mean, this stuff makes me crazy. I have 2 grandchildren, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, you know what? I don't want them even listening to this garbage, because it's hard enough just growing up and trying to understand your feelings, and as they grow up and they go into puberty, your mind is messed. You don't know whether you're coming or going. Your hormones are crazy, and for a 10-year-old to be able to make a decision to cut off their body parts, to me, is insane. This is part of this woke culture, and this has to end. When you're an adult and you decide whatever you want to do, go for it. I'm not going to stop you. But when you start actually putting this stuff into children's brains and teaching them this stuff, and and then it gets into a whole range of pedophilia, that's okay too. Like, we're going to embrace people that are basically having sex with children. That's fine too, because I was born that way. I mean, where does this end? I don't know. I have a huge problem, and to me, this is like this woke ideology, right? And it's like, how dare you? You're somehow, a transphobic. I'm 70 years old, okay, and my whole life I've maybe met one transvestite, one person who thought they were in the wrong body or whatever. There's people that have dysphoria, and that's what they used to call it, and for whatever traumatized or whatever it is, and now it's normal. Like, we have to consider that all of this is normal somehow, and it's not normal. I mean, what do you gauge normal on, right? If you look at, procreation, like, it takes a man and a woman. It just does. You want to end
so
our species.
do you and this is just for my personal curiosity, do you embrace the concepts of, like, the Enlightenment individuality, individualism, limited government. Is that how you would define your conservative views, or how do you frame your conservatism? Or is it more on the social issues side, or is it a combination of those things?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things, but I think that we need far less government. We need to let people make their own decisions about things. Yeah. And live their own lives. I don't need the government to tell me, how to have sex, what shots I should take, what I should do, where I should work, what I can say and not say. It's such overreach, and it's kind of like it's smothering. It's like we can't breathe without the government telling us, you can't turn right.
So you're definitely not a collectivist. You're.
Oh no, no. We have individual sovereign rights as a human being, and the government needs to do their job and let us do ours. And if we want to be an entrepreneur, if we want to do whatever we want to do, providing we're not going to hurt anybody, and we already have laws, with people who are literally threatening with hate and stuff like that. We don't need all this other garbage about hate speech and this and that. I believe in freedom of speech and the press. We barely have had freedom of press because there's been such a lockdown on voices, and it's ridiculous. So they're trying to form the narrative. They're using the media to basically tell people how to think, and people are very much like sheep in this. Well, if it's on the news, it must be true. Well, you need to do some investigating on your own and say, what are the other options? Is this really happening? And I question a lot of things, especially in the last 5 years, about a lot of stuff, and I'm going, none of this makes any sense whatsoever. And to me, this is a total control job. And so they're using all these things like COVID and whatever else to control and basically to take over your life. They want to reduce the population, and so we are literally in a war. I do believe they're trying every way possible.
When you say they, who's they?
Well, the globalists, the people who behind the scenes are forming these things. I don't really want to mention names. I mean, but there are people behind the scenes that want to have multi-trillionaires, billionaires, that they're saying, hey, we have a problem with overpopulation. We have a problem with climate change. And they're using all of this stuff to divide people and to make people feel guilty for even breathing. So there's a group of people that are pushing this kind of agenda, and it is part of sustainable. It's the UN Agenda 2030, and they have targets, and this is what they want to accomplish. And they have a lot of very influential, rich people that are behind this, pouring into this, and they're using the media, education, and everything else to try and form this world onto their culture, their understanding of the way the world should run. And they're not God. So they're trying to be God, and they need to all leave. Let them go to Mars or something, go on a trip with Elon.
I totally understand what you're saying. I understand exactly where you're coming from, why you're coming from there. I totally get it. I promise this is my last question.
No worries.
I've been hearing, for 2 years, people promoting the idea of things like MAGA communism. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Well, I think what's happening is that everything that we know that is normal and right, pretty much, they're twisting it. So they're portraying Trump as a monster, as a dictator, which he is not. He loves America. He wants America first. And to say that, to be a sovereign nation and have a military and not have mass migration and totally shifting your culture to a third world country, that's what he stands for. He wants to use his natural resources, which we all should be doing.
Have you heard that phrase before? MAGA communism?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you haven't?
But there are a lot of people that have what I call Trump derangement syndrome. And
they're not using it in a negative way. No.
Okay.
No. I was curious if you'd heard it.
No.
Because it's a thing. It's a thing.
Well.
Anyway, I was just very curious about it.
Yeah.
We can talk about it more. I don't want to put you on the spot because I don't think
Yeah.
you're familiar with what I'm talking about or where it's coming
Yeah.
from.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I think that Trump stands for, the forefathers and how they founded America, and he wants to stay that course, and he wants to undo everything that has been done, everything that he succeeded in, and the 4 years that he was in power, he totally flipped around the United
you view
States.
him as a constitutional conservative.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
That's where I'm at, but I'm not so sure the whole movement is there this time. I see some sort of a shift. I see convergence, and I see Trump surrounded this time not only by those people who were there originally, but also by people from other political circles who are more left wing. And yeah, there's a difference. There are a lot of Democrats in there now, libertarians, not just the original or OG MAGA group, as like Laura Loomer is saying, because there's some infighting going on now. I'd say some dysfunctionality because they've broadened the tent during the election, right? So so it's just it's different this time, in my view.
I think that his heart is basically to save America from totally being destroyed. He's going to work out what he has to work out and sift through what he needs to sift through. And he's been known to fire people because they were not on board with his vision, and the vision of America and its being strong. And I do believe he leaves room for people to have their opinions and whatever. But he's not a dictator. He is the president, and he has other people and a Congress and a Senate that things have to go through. So they've made it that way so that no one can say I'm the king kind of deal, right? It's not like
So Trudeau's a dictator. Trump's not, even though Trump is the guy who's threatening our sovereignty.
He's threatening our sovereignty?
Well, he says he wants to make us the 51st state.
I don't think he's serious. I really don't. I don't think he's serious. I think he wants to protect America, and he wants to scare Trudeau and the Liberals and say, hey, unless you guys get on board with this, I'm going to tariff you because you are a danger to the United States.
How would you feel it? How do you feel about that?
Being a 51st state?
Well, even the threat of the tariffs against us.
Obviously, I don't think that would be great at all. That would be really horrible for Canada. I don't think it's going to come to that. I mean, they're our greatest trading partner. I mean, billions of dollars go over the border every day, and he would lose and we would lose. So I don't. I think what he really wants is the commitment to say, hey, look, you need to start guarding the borders. You need to stop this massive migration of illegal people, and then they're coming over here and they're creating all kinds of damage, and they're doing damage here too in Canada. So I think what he's trying to do is probably it's good for Canada too. I think that he's using this as a lever to try and move their butts to say, hey, we got to do something about this. We got to make sure that no more fentanyl, no more drugs. I mean, what Trudeau's like is like, now it's everybody can have fentanyl and heroin and whatever, and look at the disaster in our country. I mean, so I think it's good for both countries that we kind of smarten up and say, hey, we really have a problem. We have to stop doing this. We have to put our foot down and say, no, we're not. We're going to stop, the fentanyl. We're going to stop these illegal migrants coming through by the millions. It's decimating our countries, and that's part of their New World Order is to have open borders. So basically, you get rid of the Western culture, and I don't want that. So I am definitely, for Trump, absolutely. I'm not afraid that he's going to do something terrible. I think it's going to be worked out, and we have a lot in common. I don't see us as a part of the United States per se, like to become Americans. No, we are our own country, and I don't think that's going to happen. maybe we'll share a common.
Do you think it's appropriate for
dollar.
Trump to? So it's okay for Trump to talk like that about another
I don't know
country?
if it's okay. I think, it's part of his personality to try and bully people and say, hey, you do this, fine, this is a consequence of that. Like he did that with the G7. Like you guys, you don't pay up. We spend millions of dollars basically guarding your country, protecting your country, and you don't give us any money, and we're paying for the whole thing. So you know what? Unless you start paying up, we're not going to protect you if you get attacked. I think he's just tired of being ripped off. That's his words.
Do you think we rip off the United States?
Oh, I honestly, it wouldn't shock me if we did, but again, I don't know. I don't know enough.
He says we rip them off, and he says they subsidize us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think they subsidize us?
I don't know, honestly.
I don't know that they send us a single subsidy for anything.
Yeah, I don't really know where he's coming from with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's just trying to push to get something done. And he will rebuild that wall. I do believe that. He's got Mexico on board. He's even got, the leaders of Hamas saying, yeah, we're going to stop. Zelensky, this man holds a lot of power when it comes to speaking to leaders, and they're afraid of him. And so that's probably a good thing. I think his ideas are great. Obviously, he's not perfect. He has, a bit of a chip on his shoulders and whatever, and he can be kind of aggressive to say. But his intentions are good. I really do believe that.
All right. Well, thank you for calling in tonight. I've enjoyed speaking with you very much.
You're very welcome, Rick.
I look forward to having you call back.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
You have a great evening.
You too. Talk to you later.
Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Okay, folks, and if you want to call in, you can do that at 1-519-401-1373. Oh, and I have to say thank you to the Cron for your $2 donation yesterday. I missed that in the chat in Rumble, and I saw you left a Rumble rant after the program last night, so thank you. Greatly appreciate your support. And if anybody wants to support the program tonight, you can do that by donating at freedomreporters.com. You can also donate through the Rumble Rants if you'd like to do that. And we have another call coming in. Let me just get this thing vetted, queued up, and we'll take our next call on the other side of the just so you know, we have come back on the air, so you are live on the air whether you like it or not. So if you want, I can mute you or end the call, but I just want to make sure you know you're live. So what is it you're talking about here?
Okay, when she's talking about the globalist, she's actually talking about the WEF, the WHO, and
World Health Organization,
CFR, Council of Foreign Relations, but primarily the WEF, Klaus Schwab, who's actually stepping down. They are the group that is the maniacal group that is attempting to take over the world without an army. And they're doing it they have infiltrated all the countries, like the lady was saying, the school systems, the colleges, everything. And they own the UN. They basically control the UN, the WHO. And so they passed, in Congress back in March or April, they proposed a bill which had the WHO treaty in it. And we all knew about it, and we screamed at the top of our lungs, and we got that bill shot down. But it turns out that they went straight to the UN, and if you look that up, you will see that it was passed right before Christmas.
It's
what
crazy.
was just again? What was the name of the bill?
The Pact for the Future. Yeah. And she said, the reason why I called back, she said something else that I wanted to clarify, and I totally spaced that, what she said and what I called you back for. But hey, I'm glad I got to talk to you, man. I like how you... I've been watching Canada news ever since the 22. I watched all the live streams during all this ordeal there with the truckers and all of that. And by the way, I'm in America. I'm in the United States. Oh, I wanted to talk to you about Trump. Sorry, I know we're on the air, but he does not. It was a joke. People don't catch his sense of humor. That's the thing. MAGA, we laugh when he says stuff. I mean, he is a freaking comedian, but people don't, I guess, just a certain part of the population doesn't get that he's actually joking or maybe even making a point in a funny way. But that's not at all what's going on. He's trying to make us a better country in America, and he's also reaching to Canada right now. I don't know if you've heard of Kevin O'Leary's what he said about this. He's
exactly
very on board. What Trump wants to do is join up business-wise, country-wise, and try to build us up. And the same with Greenland because of the threat from China, which is definitely going. I believe that could possibly be why we're seeing all these drones over America. And I don't know if y'all are seeing those in Canada or not. But
if there's an economic union, you do lose some of your sovereignty.
Yeah, I do believe that to be the case. I think that no matter where we go, we're going toward this globalist. Even if we fight off these globalists that want to do it in an evil way, I think that even if we do stave that off, then we are still going toward a globalist economy.
Well, isn't that ironic that the guy who's fighting? Isn't it ironic that the guy who's fighting the globalists is the guy who's out there now trying to to unify geographically and geopolitically all these different land masses and countries under the umbrella of the United States, if it's just a joke. But I guess Greenland's not a joke, but Canada is. The Panama Canal is not a joke. I'm having trouble figuring out where the humor is and isn't at this point. And I have to be quite honest. I'm a little bit worried because even if there is an economic union between Canada and the United States, both countries would ultimately give up some degree or maybe even a large degree of their autonomy and their sovereignty, because the voters from each country would then be making collective decisions, or collective decisions would have to be made for them on all kinds of issues like social programs, levels of taxation. Federal governments would lose their ability to tax certain kinds of goods coming into their country or leaving their country. Taxation levels even domestically would be impacted, because if you implemented even non-tariff barriers to trade on certain goods, you wouldn't be allowed to do it because of the economic union that would prevent a government on either side from asserting control over even things like oil and how those resources are managed on a national scale. So you couldn't say no to, if you couldn't like limit the amount leaving the country. There would be all kinds of, do you see what I'm saying?
Many logistical issues, no doubt about it.
Yeah, huge, like even huge. because then it even restricts how much, it even restricts how much you can apply taxes in order to finance social programs. So in Canada, of course, and I'm not very lefty when it comes to economics, right? I'm very conservative. But in Canada, a lot of people love their social health care and universal health care, which you don't have in the States. That requires kind of a different framework for the economy and finance. And so a lot of Canadians will resist an economic union because they want to preserve their fiscal autonomy in order to make sure that those kinds of programs are facilitated through taxation and other government policies, fiscal and otherwise, right?
Right, right. No, I'm not saying that I'm like all on board with it. It was pretty interesting that he threw it out there.
Scaring the crap out of people.
The Greenland thing and the Panama Canal thing. Yeah. Now, see, from what he's saying, that China has a presence. Actually, he's not the only one saying it. I have researched this, and they do control two of the canals.
Yes.
And so that's not good. We built that. Americans lost their lives building that. We paid for it, and it was the biggest project in human history, in fact.
Do you know the history of the Suez Canal?
And Jimmy Carter gave it away for $1.
He did. Yeah.
That was the craziest thing. It's funny. I used to like Jimmy Carter until I started learning more about him, and it's like, well, once I heard that topped it with me. No more Jimmy Carter.
Yeah. Do you know the history of the...
I kind of agree with him saying something. Hey, we need to make sure that we're all secure, everywhere. And if we built it, we paid for it, we have... And there is actually, in the agreement, there is a stipulation, which he is actually referring to, that if there are certain circumstances where we can reclaim that canal. It is actually in the document. So we wouldn't have to do it illegally or it wouldn't have to be a big issue. It is part of the agreement that's already been in place. Mm-hmm. So even though he did give it away for $1, we still can possibly get that back for safety concerns. So,
well, not just safety concerns. It's economic concerns, because that canal is so busy, and it's an integral part of the the shipping industry and Western economy. It absolutely is. But I don't know. But I just have to say, as a Canadian speaking to an American brother, we're not ripping you off. And you guys.
Oh, I don't know anything. I don't.
And you're not subsidizing us, so don't worry about it.
Politicians. Oh, I don't think that is the case at all. Personally, I never heard that until Trump.
I know.
But I do think that our government is so stupid, and they're trying to break us so much. They are sending money to every single country in the world. And I don't know this. I haven't researched it, but I will after we get off the phone, after both of these things have been brought up, to find out. But I'm pretty sure that we possibly do send every country on this planet, because they're trying to break us. That's what this whole debt thing is with us, and it's going on with you guys. From what I hear with the lady that Trudeau's trying to break your country as well, and that's how the communists are going to do this whole global takeover, is by all of the countries are in debt. All of that, and there's a reason for that. Debt is how they're going to do it. Basically.
Very interesting.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. That's what we're getting ready to hit. We're at 35 trillion right now. But from my research in the past, if you look up communism and all of the times where they took over, they broke the country. They totally bankrupted it, and that's why they've been spending our money, and that's why you guys are losing. You've lost billions of dollars. We've lost billions of dollars that we can't account for, and we've spent how many billions? 200 billion to Ukraine now. I think we're spending another 1.5 billion. I don't know. It's crazy. They just keep on sending them money. So there's something going on with that too. But that's the way to break us. Just keep on spending our money.
All right. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it.
All right.
Have a good night.
Have a good day.
Bye. Okay. I'm going to put the number back up on the screen. 519-401-1373 if you want to call in and join the program. 519-401-1373. Yeah, Trump said a lot of things that Canada just simply aren't true. You're ripping us off. We're subsidizing. No, you're not. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Yes, Mr. Rick, a nice show. I learned so much from your show. You are doing an amazing job. Today, I'm calling about that Trump statement
Yep.
But I think, we all are doing Canada a disservice because, yes, Trudeau did not answer properly. But this weekend, I came across the Green Party leader, Elizabeth May.
Yep.
What a wonderful lady. That means that woman gave Trump an answer that I think every Canadian should be proud of that lady. I mean,
Yeah, she stood up to him, didn't she? We ran that clip last night on the program of Elizabeth May of the Green Party, and she stands right up to him, says, "No, we're not going to be the 51st state." Yeah, I take my hat off to her, like you.
Oh, I was kidding. But the part that amazed me, it seems like the same way Trump gave Canada a warning, she also gave Trump something to think about. People, I live in Vermont. She said something. She was funny, really, but she was talking about serious things. She said you need to worry about the northern states, which are New York,
Right.
Massachusetts, Vermont, and she goes even further. She goes, you need to worry about Oregon, Washington, and California.
Yeah.
She said, instead of taking take over us becoming the 51st.
That's right. We'll take some of those states and incorporate and put them, make them part of Canada instead.
Provinces.
Right.
And I don't know if people pay attention because she's a serious politician. And yesterday she was giving you facts. She said, take Vermont for instance. Because of us, Canada, Vermont is not a lock state that doesn't have any border. She said there's an access to the sea. She said we provide Vermont sea. So that means we already have deep relationship with the state of Vermont. So you need to find out about what you're saying. And I think that was like pretty, I mean, is there any other politician in Canada that are making those kind of statements, talking to the Canadian people that I don't know about? That was wonderful.
Okay. Well, listen, I need to take a break here, so I'm gonna sign off. But thank you again for calling in tonight. Anything that you want to add, just as we? No. Okay. I guess he kind of hung up there before we could get to that question. So hang on. I'm gonna run this, and then we'll be right back on the other side.
He's a fighter. He's a survivor. President Trump, defiant, strong. He is determined to make America great again. Pay tribute to the 45th President of the United States with this collectible t-shirt from the Maverick News Memorable Moments collection. Even a would-be assassin's bullet could not stop him. Instead, he emerged with his fist in the air ready to fight. For freedom. Get your Trump Fighting for Freedom t-shirt with any donation of $30 or more to Maverick News. There are 2 iconic artistic designs to choose from. But there is only one way to get these. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Support free speech. Free media. Support Maverick News. Call 1-866-248-1490 or order online at supergeeks.tv.
1-519-401-1373. Get you on the program so you can exercise your right to free speech right here on the Maverick News Channel. Brian Lilly has access to a large platform through the Toronto Sun and online. And this is journalist Brian Lilly talking about what might happen tomorrow with Trudeau.
So is Justin Trudeau staying? Is he going? Is he resigning? Is he proroguing? Look, none of us are going to know that news for sure until he actually makes an announcement. But this little tidbit of news hints that, yes, something is coming. Not verified, but what I've been told is that all PMO staff have been told to be in the office in person on Monday. So does that mean that Lawrence Martin's right when he said that Trudeau's going to resign Monday? Not necessarily, though he could be. He could also prorogue. We're hearing speculation that Trudeau is trying to find a way to exit, but stay on to be prime minister until after the G7 in June. Again, all of this is just speculation because our prime minister has effectively ghosted the country. He's done the Irish exit, but hasn't relinquished power. So nobody's really in power. All of this coming to a head. So we've got whatever's coming Monday. Tuesday, you've got the Public Accounts Committee meeting to look at the Conservative push to try and get a non-confidence motion through the committee process. And then Wednesday, what is reportedly going to be a 6-hour-long Liberal caucus meeting. Oh, to be a fly on the wall for that. So, all PMO staff ordered in person, in office for Monday tells you something's coming. Problem is, we still don't know what.
Well, I'm on pins and needles, as I'm sure you are as well. Will Trudeau resign mañana? Here's Tom Mulcair, former leader of the New Democratic Party, now political commentator, makes appearances on mostly CTV. Here he is with his thoughts.
Now is Tom Mulcair, CTV News political commentator and former NDP leader. Good to see you, Tom.
Good to be with you, Renee.
So no official announcements yet, but Mark Carney, and then let's throw in Chrystia Freeland and Christy Clark could all be potential contenders for the leadership race should Trudeau decide to step down. How do you see this all playing out?
I think you've just named the three top picks in the trifecta, Renee. Former governor of the Bank of Canada, Mark Carney, it will be the prohibitive frontrunner in this race. One, because he's extraordinarily talented. Two, because he's got the skill set in the area where Trudeau was the weakest, which is the economy. And that's why, by the way, the Conservatives are attacking not Chrystia Freeland, of course not Christy Clark, they're attacking Mark Carney. Their Quebec spokesperson is out all day today attacking Mark Carney, saying that he's been there advising Trudeau, but actually the person who's been there beside Trudeau on the economy all this time, of course, was Chrystia Freeland. Carney agreed to come on board a couple of months ago, but he doesn't have to bear the burden of any of Trudeau's bad decisions on the economy. And Canadians care a great deal about the economy. In that famous expression from American politics, it's the economy stupid. I mean, you've got to understand that the average Canadian is being told that they have to tighten their belt. They've watched the Trudeau government and the bureaucracy under Trudeau grow exponentially with nothing to show for it. They're giving billions of dollars in contracts to private companies to do the same work. So the average Canadian is saying, look, the Liberal brand is still there. Trudeau is not. He's not on their radar screen at all. That's what's been fueling the 20-something% lead for the Conservatives. So if Carney makes it into the race, it'll be a game changer. If he becomes Liberal leader, he gives them some hope in the next campaign, although there is that massive lead that I just referred to for the Conservatives right now.
Regardless of whether it is Mark Carney or anybody else leading the Liberal Party, does anyone have what it takes to turn the party around?
Nope.
Well, I learned that you never underestimate the Liberal Party because with Jack in 2011 and the Orange Wave, we became the official opposition, and everybody's saying, oh, they're relegated to the dustbin of history, and they came roaring back under Justin Trudeau, who, unfortunately for the Liberals, has stayed around just a titch too long. So I do think that it is very possible that the party that has been in power for most of Confederation can put on its game face, get ready. They have a very deep bench strength, and put on a very strong fight in the next campaign. Those numbers will change rapidly, Renee, if somebody like Mark Carney were to take over the helm of the Liberal Party. So I said before that you have to watch who the Conservatives are attacking for a hint, and I would also say you have to look to who Carney and indeed Chrystia Freeland or Christy Clark are able to recruit around them as their campaign team. Now, it would appear from some indications that someone of the caliber of Gerald Butts might actually be able to work with Carney and help him get ahead. If that's the case, if this is one of the strongest and people who's ever been in the Canadian government without being elected, and he's done very well in the private sector since he left. He's highly regarded by everyone who's ever worked with him. And Gerald Butts, if he were to decide to throw in his lot with Mark Carney, watch out. That is also a game changer.
Well, so what do you guys think? Call in, let me know. 1519-401-1373. I'm just popping over here to the Rumble chat. And thank you, AlecX49, for the $5 Rumble rant. I really, really appreciate that. Saying, wish you success and good health. I like your style. I don't always agree here, but you give space for a lot of voices, and I have a lot of respect for that, Rick. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's nice to have a friendly voice in the chat. And I see Linda in there. I see Johnny. I see Too Much for Air. And who says, Tom Mulcair choked big time against Trudeau. Yes. Yeah, he did. But he, on the one hand, he's kind of right. You should never count the Liberals out because they are such a strong political force within Canada. But does putting someone, and you guys can tell me what you think, but do you think that putting somebody like Mark Carney into the leadership of the party is enough to turn things around for the Liberals? I know why they're thinking he's the guy. It's because he's the former Bank of Canada governor. He has that image of being, a business guy or someone who knows finance, economics, who knows how to run the economy. He can come in and you can put that up against Poilievre, who also has a background in economics and is running on economic issues. So you put a really smart financial guy up against Poilievre. And you've got that, the dueling economic issue guys, it's like one finance guy against the other finance guy, battling it out in a national election. But personally, I don't think it will be enough. I think putting another leader in will shift the poll numbers. It will shift support. But overall, I don't think it will be enough because the Liberal government itself has been around now for more than 9 years, going into a full decade of Liberal rule. And in Canada, that's about as long as any government can ever last. Once you get to this point, even just history tells us that when you get to this point, people just get tired and they vote against the government in power, regardless of who is at the helm. What do you guys think? Can you, do you think that Carney or somebody else stepping into the leadership role would be enough? SW says Gerald Butts is a scumbag. Yeah, I know. He was right there with Trudeau. He's a personal friend of Trudeau. Yeah, and Seize the Day says, Rick needs to do a real genuine deep dive into Carney. He's evil, in my opinion. Okay, and, thank you. Artie says, please share. Please like and share, everyone. Costs you nothing, and it pays Rick for his time. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, I hope we at least earn a thumbs up here and there tonight with our efforts. And, you can call in and join the conversation at 1519-401-1373. And what else do we have in the chat? I'm just scrolling back through. Casey says, liberal crime syndicate. It usually is some sort of a financial scandal that ultimately brings down a liberal government, and it's a revolving political cycle. The liberals come in, they tax, they spend, they tax, they spend. We run up big deficits. Then we elect a conservative government. They come in, they're a little bit more responsible with the finances. They bring in more measures of austerity. They kind of bring the economy back into an area of more responsibility, and then people just want more free stuff, and Canadians end up voting for another liberal government. Ultimately, that's kind of the way that it goes. When it comes time to start paying some bills off, we tend to elect a conservative government. And Trudeau has been spending like a drunken sailor with Chrystia Freeland by his side. That's my biggest issue. Well, not my single biggest issue. I have an issue of freedom with Trudeau and the Liberals. That's number one. And then fiscal irresponsibility is the number two thing. Those are the two big things for me. Go ahead. You're on the air. Who's calling in tonight?
Hello, Rick. It's Sandy.
Well, Sandy, the brightest, most cheerful voice we have in our community. Welcome back to the program. Are you freezing to death out there? Tell people where you're at and what the weather's like.
I'm in the Kawasa region, Kawasa County region, and it was like -9 today. It was sunny, and it felt like 80.
80? 80 Fahrenheit or 80 Celsius?
80 Celsius in Canada.
Felt like 80.
Oh my God! I felt like I was walking on sand, not on snow.
Oh really? You're weird. Okay,
I know,
because at -9, I'm not happy at -9. I can live with that, but yeah, it's a little colder than that here.
-9 is nothing. This -9, if you get like -14, 15, -20, 22, then it's pretty much screwed. So
severe weather in many places tonight across Canada and the U.S. as we get blasted
Absolutely,
with Arctic air. I don't
I'm a
like
weather
it.
guru.
You're a better Canadian than I am. You're able to withstand that cold. I really don't like it.
Well, today it felt like spring. I'm like, oh, this is nice. I can handle this. Not a problem. But if it's -30, I ain't doing it.
It's going to get colder through the week. We're going to have more severe weather. I think Wednesday that the temperature will hit its low point for the week from what I was seeing in the weather forecast.
You know what? When the sun comes out, it's warmer. It's better. You can walk. You can walk Cosmo. You'll love it. You can roll in it and play in it, and you'll love it.
So, what are you thinking on this Trudeau thing? No doubt you're calling in to talk about that.
Well, it's been more than 9 years.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's been more than 9 years.
And?
He reelected himself in 2016.
He reelected himself?
Yeah, he did. I don't know how you do that. How the hell you do that? I have no clue.
Well.
How do you reelect somebody as a prime minister? I don't know. And this was all before the pandemic, right?
No. No. He was reelected after the pandemic. Yeah, it was one of the key issues, remember? He was out there campaigning saying, if you think you're going to get on a plane or a train, right? Like, think again. No, sir. Either you get the thingy in the army or you are not going anywhere, pal. That's kind of where I was at.
And he's already traveled and he's already done his, he went to Mar-a-Lago and he met Trump, and as far as I'm concerned, they're both bullies. They're bullies. Both of them.
Yeah, well, Trump's kind of a bully sometimes.
I have no use for them. I have no use for them.
I honestly, I don't understand how some people are like, I don't know. It's like whatever Trump does, he's forgiven, just forgiven. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. That's all right. But I'm not, it's not cool with me with the way he's been talking about Canada. I'm not cool with it.
I'm not cool with it. It's just, you know what? Your last caller was talking about billions of dollars. They were talking about deficit. And your lady caller, she hit it on the nail. She said so much about it tonight. And you know what? I'm all up for it. And you know what? There's a lot of drama in politics, and it's a blood sport.
Oh, yeah. It's a blood sport. I think, and it's evolved. I think it's even more than a blood sport now. I think it's a psychological sport, and
I think it's a. You know what I think it is? Like I said to myself a while ago, I think it's a mental health thing between their mind and what they're going through. And well, you know what? Like, how come all of a sudden Trump's wife, Melania, is showing up? They're not married anymore.
yes, they are.
Well, you know what?
Trump's wife Melania, they're married.
Really?
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah. Maybe you're confusing Justin Trudeau and Sophie. They're not together anymore.
No, they're not together no more.
Yeah.
They're not together. And you know what? Like, Trump did an interview. He's got to be careful with his words. He really needs to be careful with his words and calling women names, calling people names. You know, like, I'm not a fan. Nope. I'm not a fan of the heckling coming from him. He calls Hillary Crooked Hillary. You know, he calls her names, but really, is that necessary?
That's his style. That got him all the way to the White House twice.
Well, you know what? Change your style.
Yeah.
Change your style.
The thing this time, Sandy, is I just don't think he needs to go around picking all these fights with allies. No. And it makes me really wonder what the hell's going on, because he didn't really do it that way the last time.
He's a bully dog.
It doesn't make sense. He's playing nice with countries that would normally be considered adversaries or at least challengers.
Not so
and
nice.
And then he's going around, you know, kicking allies in the shin. To a great degree, it makes no sense to me. And then people think he's just joking. It's like,
well, I'd like to see Trump in a helmet with ammunition and fighting a war. And he's not fighting no war. There's a physical war, a mental war, and there's different types of war, right?
Yeah.
There's a physical war and a mental war, and he's in the mental war. I'd like to see him out there fighting in a helmet.
That would be a sight.
Right?
Maybe if they do that, I'm showing up with my video camera.
I'll show up with my hockey stick. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Well, and
this is
because
propaganda, my friend.
that's
Johnny,
right, man. Do not mess with my country, because if you do, Sandy and I are gonna get our hockey sticks in our canoes, and we're gonna defend this country to the bitter end.
He's fighting a different kind of war. He's fighting a financial war. That's what he's fighting.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not funny.
No,
it's not funny.
Not
he's
to me, it's not funny.
He's fighting a financial war, excuse my language, a financial fucking war, and he's writing it off, and all these people are being killed, and all these people are being hurt. They're going through a war, and I'd like to see him in a tank with a helmet on. Right?
Yeah, well, he has experience, because he did spend some time in that garbage truck.
I don't know if he has any experience in anything.
During the election. Remember the garbage truck thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was just a warm-up.
Well, he needs to do more than that. He needs to get out there and get up off his ass, his lazy ass.
Okay.
Well, how old is he? 70-something? Come on, man. Really? Give me a break.
Now you're sounding like Joe Biden. Come on, man.
Come on. No, I don't. I'm not
That's
Joe
okay.
Biden.
I forgive you.
No. This is really, it's really ticking me off.
I can tell. Yeah.
It's really, the financial part of it is just like, I'm okay with Kevin O'Leary. He's talking a good fight. Talk a fight.
I think Kevin O'Leary has his own financial interests in mind, and if he could get an economic union going, I think all of his investments in the states, including, I think he's got money in the Dakota Pass pipeline. I think he's just gleeful at this point that Trump has been reelected.
He's waiting it out. Kevin O'Leary is waiting it out.
Yeah, I think that Kevin has some interests of his own in mind with all of this stuff.
Too,
so
my friend.
I don't think he's such the patriotic Canadian who has moved to the United States, by the way. I don't think he's as patriotic as maybe people think. Do you like him?
I like him.
Yeah, he's okay.
He's smart. He's good.
He is good on the air, and I like a lot of what he says. Yeah.
Me too. He's not. You know what? I've seen him on Dragon's Den, and he's a businessman. So.
He's that. Yes, he is.
He's that.
Yes, sir. Okay, Sandy. Thank you for the call. I appreciate you calling in.
Thank you, my friend. Peace.
Okay. See you. Bye.
Bye.
Wow. Kevin O'Leary. He's upstaged Trudeau and Poilievre and Jagmeet Singh. He's getting more attention on this issue than anybody. I'm going to go down there to Mar-a-Lago and negotiate on behalf of Canada. Yeah, okay. All right, well, we'll see what kind of a deal he's actually able to sign. And under what authority would he do that? I don't know. I think in the end, you still need the Prime Minister and some other representatives from the actual government to go down. But hey, if Kevin can help out, that's all cool. That's all cool. What's going on in the chat? Did you see some of these memes yesterday from the awards ceremony? What was it? The Peace Awards or whatever they were called. We ran all those medals being handed out yesterday, and then of course the memes have followed. Maybe we'll run a few of those during the program tonight. Some of that stuff just made me laugh yesterday, and the memes were even funnier. So maybe we'll close things off with that tonight. So yeah, still the number's still up on the screen there, 1519-401-1373 if you want to join the conversation. And Alex Jones had a meltdown, eh? It's what was this all about? This was about the it's just, well, this is all, oh my God, I don't even know. Can I run this on these channels, or am I going to get in trouble? I think this is hilarious. I'm gonna run some of it because he's losing it again. You tell me, is this genuine or is this an act? Okay, what is this with this guy?
What the hell? And he's exposing Jeffrey Epstein and the CIA. Hell, last week he put out tweets about the CIA at war with America. God almighty, Jones sold out retweeting that. God, I apologize to all of you. I'm sorry. I sold out. I tried to stop the pedophile rings, the giant Muslim kidnapping rings. I'm sorry. I kissed Elon Musk's ass. We're so close to getting the globalists. I want their throat. I want victory. And now you can see it. And you guys think you're going to harass Elon Musk and push him off of supporting Trump and divide Trump and Elon? You're not. We have already beaten your ass. Oh, let's continue.
I'm not going to run the rest. Like, Jesus. Oh, my God. Is that real? Is that for real? Or is that an act? You tell me in the chat. Which is it? I'm going to look over here on Rumble. Act, says Dragon. It felt kind of like it was forced, maybe just a little bit. What else do we have going on there? Linda says, Alex Jones makes wrestlers acting look bad. Yeah. And my feed time is ×3. Rick, you are looking more and more like CNN. Well, thank you. Whatever, man. And Johnny, Kevin O'Leary donated money for a massive AI data center in northern Alberta. Yeah. Well, he's got investments all over the place. It's hard to keep track. He's got lots of coin. Oh, man. Alex Jones. That was entertaining. I see that there's a group I think this is on Facebook. Is it Facebook? I'm pretty sure. Convoy. It's the Election Now protests. It's a private group. I'm just looking here. It says Convoy 2025, demand election now. It says this January 25th to 27th, Canadians are coming together in cities, at borders, and in Ottawa to demand a federal election and restore accountability in government. Trudeau Liberal leadership no longer reflects the will of the people. It's time for a change. Join the movement to stand up for freedom, democracy, and the future of our nation. Together we will be heard. So I guess they're putting together, it looks like a protest, January 25th to 27th or something. I don't really know who's behind that group. I don't know. But it's out there. That was sent to me today. Also, the RCMP says they're aware of and dealing with unprecedented threats against members of Parliament as we approach the next federal election. We'll talk about that in a moment, but first, let's go back to the phones. Who's on with us now?
Good evening, it's Isabel. How are you?
Well, hello, Isabel. Welcome back. Great to hear from you.
Alex Jones sounds like me when I'm talking about Trudeau.
I thought he was going to blow a blood vessel in his head there. My God, he was like over the top again.
Well, when I start talking about dickhead, my kids are like, Mom, go have a coffee. Go have a coffee, Mom.
Yeah, so what do you think? Is Trudeau gonzo tomorrow, or is he going to hang on?
Oh, I am hoping so much that when I wake up tomorrow, I will get a late Christmas present, and he'll be gone. I am hoping. How much more can he destroy?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's it's just, with him, for me, aside from the lockdown stuff, like that's really what got me, right? I didn't like the way he handled the pandemic. But yeah, the fiscal irresponsibility, the massive spending, this $60 billion deficit, which was just revealed in this, financial report economic statement we just received about a week ago. And the inflation all of this has caused, the housing prices, it has doubled the housing prices.
Yeah,
He's doubled housing prices.
It's gotten insane. Like my older son got into the retail or the real estate market when he was in his early 20s. And he's like, oh my God, he's like, my kids, he said, I'll never be able to get a house.
Yeah.
He said, like, this is crazy. I mean, his boys are out on their own now, they're in their 20s, but they're renting. And he's like, one came back home, he said, because he can't afford to pay the gas to go to work and then pay the rent, pay the bills. Everything is up.
Yes, yeah.
I said, yeah, and what kills me is as a senior, and this jerk runs around and spends our money on frivolous bullshit.
Yeah.
And seniors get, like, I make under $1,500 a month on CPP and OAS. And I banked that money instead of them taking it out of my pay. I would have had a house. Because instead of them taking it, I would have accumulated more in interest in my bank account, depositing it into a savings account, than the little dribble that they give you back that you pay all your life off your pay, which it's just tax. I mean, even now they tax your CPP and your OAS because it's income.
Yes.
So I'm going to give it to you a month, but wait a minute, we're going to take this much back.
Doesn't make any sense, does it?
It makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. And I have so many times sent emails, and when that little jerk comes on X
and he's blowing it out of his ass about, oh, I'm doing great for the dental program and all, and I'm on there and I'm like, liar. I went through the dental program just to see what it was.
Mm-hmm.
It is not what he says it is. So all these people that are going to jump on the bandwagon and going to get their letter, and then they're going to get a card to take to their dentist or whatever, it is not covered as to what they say. So he's pulled them in again, and yet he still brags on his little podcast about how his dental program is helping and how about the child tax credit, blah, blah, blah. Well, stop taxing us. We can feed our own kids. We could do our own dentistry. But you're making it look good like you're going to help us out. Meanwhile, you're stabbing us in the back. And I don't know where the sheep are that aren't seeing this. It's like, here we go again.
Yeah, I know that, for instance, dentures. I know somebody who had denture work done. The program covered, I think it was the uppers, but it didn't cover the bottom. So it's like you got half a mouth. Like what is that? What good is a program like that?
Well, this is it. I mean, I was due for a full set, top and bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I went, and my dentist looked at it, and he goes, oh. I said, what? He said, well, we're going to scan your card, because they scan it to see what you're available for. The paper said 100% coverage. So my brain went, oh, 100% coverage. That's going to save me $3,600, because that's what it costs in Canada for a set of teeth.
Yeah.
In the States, $600. Why are we paying more? Same process. My brother-in-law got his done in the States for $600.
Wow.
And mine are 36.
When
Same
you
process.
See, as soon as you get as soon as you bring in socialized healthcare, the cost of everything goes way up. It's if you compare, costs between like Canada and the U.S., we don't see it.
No.
Because it's socialized, but behind the scenes, everything is very expensive.
Oh, yeah. Well, it ended up all I could get out of Fancy Socks was a liner for the bottom, and I had to pay $50. And I'm like, what? So when he comes on with his little program, I'm sitting here, and you can see the smoke coming out of my ears.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, I would just love to have you for like 5 seconds, because I would be like that girl in BC that shook his hand and told him to get the fuck out of BC.
Yeah, well, that's what I was getting at too. The RCMP is saying that MPs in general are experiencing more and more unprecedented levels, I think is what they're saying, levels of threats. And so they're preparing for the upcoming election because they're concerned about the safety of these politicians, because so many people are upset, especially with Trudeau. I'm amazed, honestly, that woman out in BC was able to just walk right up to Trudeau, right up to him while he was on his skiing vacation over Christmas, and shake his hand and then tell him to F off and get out of the province. How does that happen? Like, that's a security risk. I don't wish harm on him. I don't want him to get hurt. I don't.
No.
But
I don't want him to be hurt either. I just want him to disappear. But yeah, that was something that was out of the blue. I think he thought he was going to get a great photo op out of it.
Yeah, I think he thought she was friendly.
Yeah.
I think she was like, I think she, faked him out and got up close so she could do what she did. But I'm amazed that at this point, I can't understand why his bodyguards, why they even let people get close to him. He's in danger, man. I'm telling you, there are so many people who are so upset with that guy that they should not be.
Amazing.
Yeah, they got to take him more seriously.
I look at it like this is now the difference between him and Trump. Like now Trump has like the security barrage, right? And yet here's Trudeau, who is supposed to have a security barrage, but he doesn't get it how much people hate him. I am surprised, and I don't want to say it, but I'm surprised that there hasn't been an attempt because of the things he's done to us.
Yeah, I'm surprised too, honestly, in a lot of ways. And I'm very surprised because they let that guy sometimes just walk right through crowds.
Yeah.
And people walk up to him. They don't. I can't believe it.
And that's what I look at it. I'm like, you know how people hate you so much, and you're in these big crowds, like when he's in a parade or something, because he's always walking, with his buddies and the drag queens. I'm surprised. And when he was at the Stampede, and he gets out into these crowds, and I'm like, you do realize people hate you so much, but we are so attuned as Canadians to not be violent. That's the difference. But I'm like, wow, the difference between protection for Trudeau and Trump, and yet Trudeau just walks down the street in Ottawa in the summer with, his briefcase in his hand that I'd like to beat him over the head with. But he just walks down the street. He's got people on either side of him.
But
he doesn't seem to get it.
Somebody
could just walk up and that would be it.
And just to be clear for everybody, especially police, Isabel will not take the briefcase and hit Justin Trudeau in the head with it. That is a joke. Okay?
I'm only 4'11", so I wouldn't be able to
She's not going to do that. I vouch for her. It's going to be okay.
But it's weird. Like there's so many times that he's in situations like that. There's been numerous ones now where people have walked up to him and he thought he was going to have a photo op, and somebody has told him where to go. And he's leaned into the camera a couple of times thinking, it's going to be a photo op, and then the guy will say something like, well, he just fuck off. I'm like,
but see, if you go back
that was a photo op.
If you go back even just a few years ago, and certainly when he was first elected, it was photo op every time he turned around. Everybody wanted selfies with the guy. The women were swooning over this married guy who had these fancy socks and the well-groomed hair. So Mr. Blowdry was out there posing for selfies with everybody, and he was the darling of the media. But boy, I'll tell you, even with all the money that he has funneled into the mainstream media, with government money, everybody's gotten on the payroll now. Even with that, he's fallen out of favor, and they don't like him anymore.
No, he's lost his touch. I mean, how much more can you go through? He's got so many crimes against him right now. Was it Leanne Rue that stood up in Parliament and read them all?
68 scandals.
Yeah. How many more can this guy have? And then I hear that he is under investigation. And I did see there was a letter written by the police services? Anyway, the head guy of the police service.
Parliamentary Police Service?
Wanting him to step down.
Oh,
to resign.
I didn't see that. So somebody from police wants him to step down too, and stated so publicly?
Yeah, they don't have any more confidence in him.
Didn't
They
see
want
that
him
one.
gone.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, okay, but can we arrest him first?
Wow.
And I know he's under an investigation to be arrested. That was another thing that came out.
Oh, he's under a whole bunch of. They have all kinds of different investigations ongoing with Trudeau and his party.
Well, we could make him really angry and take away his fancy socks when they lock him up. Give him a pair of flip-flops.
You know what I got for Christmas? I got some Star Wars socks, and I was like, I can't wear these. like maybe in the before Trudeau times I could have worn them, but I can't wear them now. Right? I'm sitting around family Christmas and everyone's looking at me like, why not? And I was like, never mind. But everybody here knows why I can't wear those socks. It's because I'll be just like him.
We got this stupid tradition. I could shoot my daughter for it. She's one of those ones that's you really got to watch her. She came here one year with 150 little tiny ducks, and she put them all over my frickin' house.
Ducks.
I'm finding them in my salt. I find them in my sugar. I find them stuck on the wall, on door frames. She does stuff like this. So last 2-3 years ago, she said I was a conspiracy theorist. So
yeah,
you
are.
Like
we all are here. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I needed a tinfoil hat. So at Christmas Eve, they're all sitting there and they go, "Oh, we want to give Grammy her gift." I'm like, "Oh, okay, but we should wait for Christmas morning." "Oh no, we got to give you this first." So they give me this box. I open the box. It is a colander for washing vegetables.
Jesus, that's not.
With tinfoil antenna on it, and these little diamond thingies stuck around it. They make me put it on, they make me take a picture with this thing, and then they posted it on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, really? So last year, it was my turn. I took the colander home because it was my gift. So last Christmas, I went one better. So I put lights on it. I put a plastic dome on the top, and inside the dome, I put a remote control light that would change different colors. And then I put 2 ties on it so they could wear it. So she had to wear it last Christmas. So this Christmas, I got it again.
It's becoming a tradition for you.
It's becoming a thing. So this time we got these huge antennas on it, and it's all done up with tinsel and more lights. So I have to come up with something better next year. I have to put a Christmas tree on it. I don't know what, and a couple of unicorns. I don't know, but this has gotten to the point where I'm like, oh my God, here we go, tinfoil hat.
Well, at least you can laugh about it, and you've turned it into something fun. And speaking of remotes, did you see this story with the Cybertruck bomber? They're saying that the reason his bombs, or actually not the Cybertruck bomber, the driver of the truck in New Orleans.
Oh, on Bourbon. Bourbon Street.
They're saying that the reason his bombs didn't explode is because he didn't use the right kind of remote.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, thank God for that.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you should never buy from Dollarama.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, we shouldn't be. Oh my God. Is it too early to joke like that about this? But yeah.
That was devastating.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. He screwed up. That's for sure. But
the police chief, who's an airhead, they had those barriers, but she didn't know they had them because they were in storage.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure they will be having a review on that, and I don't know why they don't know, you know?
What do you mean you don't know? And the guy that actually manufactured those, he got the order in November.
Yeah.
And then they sat in storage. But I guess she's a reject from California.
Oh,
from what I hear.
That right? Okay.
That was on Fox News. She was actually sent there. So she's a DEI. Right? She's a, diversity inclusive and, equity and inclusive.
The Cron just donated $5. Thank you. $5 donation from the Cron. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So she, I guess, and I also heard and this was on Fox, because I only listened to the Fox channel there with, what's his name, comes on every Sunday night, Liberty.
Who, Mark Levin?
With Mark Levin, that channel that comes on with Mark Levin.
Okay.
They were saying that she had almost hit 2 pedestrians. The police chief.
The police chief almost did 2 pedestrians. What?
Yeah. A couple of months ago or during the summer.
Okay.
She was turning a corner and she didn't see the pedestrians and she almost hit them. I'm like, wait, that's the police chief. What? That's who they have in charge.
Oh.
There's going to be a big investigation on that. Like, she should have known this. And it's Bourbon Street. They have the Mardi Gras. They have, the Sugar Bowl. They have all this going on. Why would... Oh, how did he get on the sidewalk? Well, he drove around the police car. Hello? You didn't have any barriers up.
Well, I think they did have some barriers up, just not on the sidewalk. So it was just like, yeah, they got around with the what they did have in place. Eh? It is. I don't know why. You know how government works, though. One hand doesn't know what the other hand is doing, and
yeah, and the left hand is doing something it shouldn't be doing, and
yeah.
It's what is this new thing with Ottawa? You cannot idle your car, or you'll get a fine if you idle it more than 1 minute.
Well, actually, that kind of thing is in place. That kind of bylaw is in place in a number of municipalities across the U.S. and Canada. That's been
during the winter.
Well, yeah, I don't know how they enforce it, man. I just don't know.
So do they have these same people that will call in because your neighbor is idling their car before work, like they did during the pandemic?
Who knows?
Oh man, I'm listening to that and I'm thinking, what? When I was in Ottawa, the temperature could go down to minus 18, minus 20.
And here's the truth about idling your vehicle. It doesn't even really save that much gas. You know how they have the start-stop technology where the engine shuts off now on newer vehicles when you're sitting at a stoplight, and then when you take your foot off the brake, it starts up again? It doesn't even really save all that much gas.
I can't see that. Like, I get behind people, like my car doesn't do that. I get behind people and you're like waiting for them to go, well, that's their car shut off, now you gotta wait for it to restart.
Yeah.
And I'm like, great. This is new technology?
Mm-hmm.
Don't want it. Don't want it. My car's a 2019. I don't want it. And they're always constantly, would you like to get this new deal on your car? No, I don't pay interest on my car. It was 0 down, 0 interest. I'm happy. Oh, we got this new electric car. Yeah, no. I used to live in Timmins, and the temperature could go to minus 35, minus 40. You froze on the spot.
Oh, I can't take that kind of cold, man. I hate that.
Oh, yeah, we went out like little Eskimos. All we had was, I shouldn't say this, but it was almost like the burqa. You just had a little tiny peephole because your forehead would freeze. Your nose would freeze. So if your nose ran, you had icicles. It was horrible. But yeah, we were kids. We never noticed it. You'd go out and you'd play. You'd have maybe 2 or 3 pairs of socks on top of your shoes inside your boots. The plastic bags, in case the snow melted and got inside your boots. You wore bread bags.
I remember that. I remember that.
The good old days, right?
Yes. Yeah, and you'd leave your boots on the rad to dry them out.
Yeah, we used to see, my mother used to turn the oven on, and she would put paper in the oven, and then lay your socks on top of the paper with the oven door open, or before you went to school, your sweaters would hang over the end of the door on the oven, so it would be nice and warm, so you could put it on, so you could go outside and freeze. This is great, Mom, because by the time I get out the door, I'll be frozen. But I heard about that today, and I'm like, I know there is idle bylaws, but I'm thinking if you're warming your car up to go to work in the morning, in the winter, but you're going to get a fine?
Yeah, I just can't see them enforcing that stuff. But hey, it's 2025 now, right? So
yeah,
times they have changed.
I guess the Liberals are short on cash, right?
The party?
So I guess the Liberals are short on cash. They need to start charging us.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's kind of a joke. I thought you were seriously talking about what their actual financial state was. I don't think the Liberals are all that short on cash. They're a pretty powerful political machine, man.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you see the numbers rising on what it's going to cost. I'm just hoping tomorrow we're going to get some good news.
And what's your prediction? Are you willing to go down a limb and make a prediction for tomorrow?
I like to make a prediction. I don't think Art Carney's. He's not going to save the Liberals.
Not Art Carney. Not Art Carney. Mark Carney. Art Carney was an old-time actor and comedian.
Look, Mark Carney is not going to save the Liberals. They've already done the damage. We're not that stupid anymore. We're fed up with it. It's what it is. And we want to change. Like you said, 9-10 years, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
We're done. I never voted for the Liberals. I'm conservative by nature, Scottish by birth, save a penny. I just can't see all this frivolous spending, and we're done with it. And the more that comes out against Trudeau, it's not just Trudeau, it's the party that's allowing it. Nobody's put the brakes on him. They've given them the purse and let him run. And the Liberals are going to pay for this one because they're done. Doesn't matter who they put in. The people don't want it, and you can see that in the polls. So I predict he's going to be gone.
Yeah, I think if he doesn't go tomorrow, he's going to go very soon after. You can just see so much pressure within the party now. He can't survive that. He just needs to find the method or the way to exit.
Yeah.
And, hopefully in for him in some sort of a graceful way, but the whole thing has just been a gong show over the past month especially.
Can we not just get him a toboggan and take him out to the lookout and push him down the hill?
Well,
and wave goodbye as he goes?
You got to stop talking about beating him on the head with his briefcase and pushing him down hills and stuff.
We're going to take him out for the day and let him have a good run out in the, the lookout up on in Ottawa.
Okay.
Anyway, that's my prediction. The Liberals are done. They're done. Doesn't matter who they put in there. They're done. We're fed up.
I think that's a pretty safe bet, Isabel.
Yeah. Okay, I thank you. I hope you have a great night. I would have given you a donation, but I've had a sick doggy, and that's where all my money went.
Well, that's okay. I understand. And I hope your dog's feeling better.
He's getting there. He had kidney stones, a bladder stone, and a liver infection.
That sounds painful. That's very painful stuff. Wow.
Yeah, hence the reason he was screaming for no reason.
Oh, my goodness. Well, there was a reason.
He's getting better. Every time I open the bottle or I shake the bottle, he runs. He's like, oh, shit, here she comes.
Oh, well,
I don't want that stuff.
And look at that. Halo says, violent caller. There you are. See what you see? Now you're in trouble.
Hey, I can't help it. I got red hair. Not my fault.
All right.
That's God's warning to everybody. He gave me red hair. Look out, here I come.
That's okay. We're vouching for you here. She's just joking. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Isabel. Have a great night.
You too. Thank you, Rick.
All right. See you. Bye. Okay, folks. Yeah. Actually, we're working on a new song too about Justin Trudeau. Hopefully, maybe we'll have it ready for tomorrow when we find out what he's actually going to do. Will he resign or won't he? I don't know. Stay with me. I'll be right back.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, and you can join the program. We can still take some calls at 1519-401-137. Okay, Mavericks, it's call-in time. Join the conversation. Call now, 1-519-401-1373. One 519-401-1373. Exercise your right to free speech. That's 1-519-401-1373. That's 1-519-401-1373. Maverick News. Call now. The world is watching and listening to you. All right, John from Alberta is on the line. Go ahead, John.
Hey, good evening, guys. Great show, Rick. Great show.
Well, I'm glad you're getting some value out of it.
Oh, those first two callers. All callers are always great, but yeah, nice to get some diverse callers on. Yeah, great, awesome show. So guess what the temperature is going to be tomorrow in Alberta?
Oh, probably about minus 20?
-2. We got something in Alberta called a Chinook. We're going from electric panties and warm pants to shorts.
How are those electric panties, John?
I'm sending you one and dragging one too. Yes, you can plug them into a USB port in the car. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'll look forward to that. There are power outages, I guess, and wind damage out in Newfoundland because they're getting hammered out there.
Wow.
I guess there's something like 9,000 people on that small little province of, the Maritimes. 9,000 people without power tonight because of the high winds and the inclement weather. Welcome to Canada in January.
Yeah, well, we're due for it. Hopefully some of them have generators,
Yeah, well, they'll get it back on. They'll survive. They're Canadians. It's just another Sunday in January.
We're tough.
We are tough, yeah.
So you think Mr. Trudeau is going tomorrow, eh? Fingers crossed?
if he doesn't go, we're gonna see probably a path to him exiting tomorrow. The reason is you don't get all this posturing and pre-leadership convention campaigning going on unless something is really about to happen. And you don't get this level of media coverage and attention around contenders for the leadership unless something is about to happen. And you don't get coverage of Trudeau calling, this meeting tomorrow and telling everybody it's all hands on deck. Everybody has to be there unless something serious is about to happen. Now, it could be prorogation, but I think more, it looks to me, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's very close. I told everybody here, I said he's probably going to He will probably reflect over the holidays, and then when he comes back, he'll make the announcement that he's leaving. And it may just happen a little earlier during the break as he has this meeting tomorrow. What do you think?
Well, let's pray. All we can do is pray. You know, he's persona non grata in Alberta. You know, we don't care for him.
Yeah.
We didn't care for his father. In fact, I want that white Stampede hat back. The Calgary Stampede hat given to him. I want it back. I want it returned. He's not welcome there. Wink, wink, laugh, laugh. Yeah.
Yeah, Choosy says there's a line of storms today northeast of Texas. Looks easily like it could have been a giant plume released from the refineries or military. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know what the hell that means. Okay.
Hey, Choosy, everything goes back to the CIA, Choosy.
There you go. That's right. It's always the CIA. Always. Doesn't matter. It's always the CIA, of course.
Well, you know, our great Daniel Smith Premier, I think she's headed off to Washington, D.C. the first of the week, you know, to do the hobnobbing for Alberta. And maybe she's got the right point of view for Alberta. I don't know. Opposite to Doug Ford. What do you think?
I think that one plays off the other. I think it provides a little bit of balance. I think the hardline approach from Ontario Premier Doug Ford with Trump is, you know, appropriate, but I also understand and appreciate the more diplomatic approach being taken by Danielle Smith, the Premier of Alberta. I think she has a lot to lose if she threatens to cut off energy to the U.S. I'm sorry. I'm not happy with Donald Trump in the way that he's done this. I think it's uncalled for. I do find it insulting. And I think it's especially insulting because so many people, even here in Canada, have thrown their support behind him, and then he turns around and it feels like a slap in the face. So I'm not pleased. But that's me.
Well, but you know, Rick, really in one way, I know it started out as a really, really bad joke. Trump saying that, you know, Canada will be the 51st state with our governor, Justin Trudeau. I think it started out as a really bad joke, but it's gained a whole bunch of international momentum, like literally worldwide, where it's gone from a joke to kind of being a little bit on the serious side.
I don't think it was ever. This is my opinion. I don't think it was ever a joke. It's not a joke. It doesn't mean he's necessarily 100% serious about following through and making us the 51st state, but there's a lot more to it than people understand or appreciate. The reason I say that is because I've seen a build-up to this over like 2 years with various statements being made, certain actions online from influential people. This stuff can't just be a coincidence. This was a build-up. And now he got himself back into power, and here it is. So yeah, I don't think it's a joke.
Well, and let's not forget Tucker Carlson for the last 8-9 months has been making rumblings of this on his circuit tour, eh?
100%. And that's not a joke either. I said when he did it, it wasn't a joke. When the President of the United States speaks about something, it carries real weight. He knows that, even if it's, you know, bombastic. It carries weight. And Canada has been responding. Look at the impact that has had on our country. Everybody's talking about it. Politically, it's having real impact on the country. And I don't even know if it's appropriate for a president to be saying things about, you know, in a way that affects our politics that way, because that is also impactful on our sovereignty and our political process, you know? It's kind of like Justin Trudeau coming out and saying, I really hope Joe Biden wins. I think it's pretty clear that he didn't want Trump to win, but it's not appropriate for the Canadian Prime Minister to say stuff like that about U.S. politics and meddle in that way. You know, the appropriate thing for any leader to say, in my opinion, is I hope the democratic process unfolds as it should, and I'm sure that and it's great to see democracy in action. The people will decide what their own destiny will be. Something along those lines, right? Let the people decide what government they have.
Well, I think all joking aside, if anybody, and I'm being very serious as a lifelong Albertan, born and raised here, my family's been here 115 years. If anybody is going to become the 51st Republican state of the United States of America, it would be hands down Alberta.
Well, out of all the Canadian provinces, that would be the one.
Well, and I mean, with all due respect, we've been so beat up for so many years. We're the golden goose with all the oil. We've gladly shared it across the country. And Pierre Elliott Trudeau tried to destroy Alberta. I mean, literally, you can walk down the streets in Edmonton or Calgary. You so much as mention the National Energy Program, you're not going to get a good outcome. People don't forget here in Alberta, Rick. And I'm an Alberta guy, and I'm Alberta first, and then I'm a Canadian. And I mean, in all seriousness, we love sharing our wealth across the country, but it's been so one-sided with Quebec that, you know, I mean, look, how many times has Alberta looked at having their own separatist party? And they never go anywhere, but this is maybe an opportunity. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there as something to free thinking.
So do you want to join the U.S.? I can't remember what you said before.
Well, would you rather have a Ben Franklin $100 bill in your pocket or a Canadian $100 bill?
Well,
from an economic point of view.
I guess it depends, John. I think it's a little more complicated than that, honestly.
Well, it is, and I'm not trying to be
and you know what?
simplistic
I'm gonna jump off because I've got another call coming in. Okay?
Yeah, we'll let you go.
Right,
God bless everybody. Peace. Bye.
Go ahead. You're on the air.
Yeah, this is Rick. Yeah. No, I just call her there and just say that if Alberta or the West is prepared to separate, they're welcome to do that. But somebody needs to stand up there and whether it's a plebiscite that has to take place out there or whatever. But time to either fish or cut bait.
Yeah, and Pooh Bear says, then Rick, stop pushing his T-shirt. Well, the T-shirts were made before he said all this terrible stuff about Canada, and now we've got the T-shirts, and it's, you know, it's not like I'm like forever gonna hold it against him. I just don't like what's going on right now when he's saying this stuff about Canada. I can like other things and not be happy with that, but I'm sorry. Back to you. You go ahead. So.
Well, no, it's time we knuckle down here and let's decide if the West wants to go and wherever they want to, whether they want to lay the line on the map, it's time to do it. But let's either, as they say, either fish or cut bait here.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want the country to break up. I understand what you're saying.
No, I don't want the country to break up either. But I mean, when Ms. Smith or whatever her name is decides to go to Washington on her own and doing her own negotiation, that sounds to me like we're no longer Team Canada here. What happened to Team Canada?
Well, yeah, and then that begs the question: does a premier of a province, any province, have the authority or the latitude to go to another country and represent just their province to promote their province economically? Is it appropriate? I think maybe it is, but
maybe the way that Doug Ford does it when he talks to some of the other governors of some of the states that he makes contact with makes sense to me. Mm-hmm. And maybe where Ms. Smith's oil is flowing, and whether it's flowing through the middle of the United States, or now is it flowing to the West Coast and going through the Trans Mountain and getting on a ship and going to California? You know, that's the whole thing. I got no problem with premiers dealing with governors that they do business with. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that Ms. Smith has any business being in Washington.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, she's sort of doing an end run around the federal government.
Well, sure she does. She's been on an end run since the last week of December.
Yeah. So, and it does put, any federal government team that goes down there, or even team of premiers or whatever, it does sort of divide. It's not.
Well, certainly it does. If we're going to skate as Team Canada, then we all go out there on the ice together, and we all go down the ice together. If you want to go on a breakaway by yourself, then you do it. And that's my point about Western Canada, is that they have to make a decision out there sooner or later that they're going to be something different, or they're going to be part of the whole Commonwealth. So that's fine with me, and I'll let you go from there.
Okay, I appreciate your call very much. And I think somebody else was trying to call in there. And let me just check this message coming in. I'm going to take a little break. Real short one. We'll be right back. I got to get some stuff set up and queued up and ready to rock and roll.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
I noticed a comment earlier, and I can't find it here to put it up on the screen, but somebody mentioned or said something about if we join the U.S., all the Canadian, was it inflation or inflationary pressures, or it might even be our debt, would be like wiped out. It would just go away. All the Canadian debt. And I saw a video of some guy saying that would happen. And I just have to say, I don't remember who it was that posted that in there. That's not true. I guarantee you it's not true. And I don't think Trump is, or anybody in the U.S., on the U.S. side, would be in favor of just absorbing Canada's debt and just making it go away. In fact, it would sort of be the other way around. When we are taken over, if we were to be taken over, we would actually assume U.S. debt. So the other thing is, there have been studies on possibly merging with the United States. And as much as Donald Trump has asserted that Canada is ripping off the U.S., they subsidize us, and therefore we should just become part of them, because it would just, if we would pay less tax and we would be better off, and it would just benefit Canada economically. And in reality, Canada's overall wealth in terms of natural resources alone far exceeds what the United States has. And so if we were to join, what would really be more in line and appropriate would be for the United States to pay us. And we would all, as individuals on that level, we would all be filthy freaking rich. I've seen the studies on it. I can't remember the numbers, but that's actually the truth. Now, that being said, that won't happen. And they're not going to wipe out your debt. If you owe money, you're still going to owe money. Canada owes money, we're still going to owe money. I guarantee it. And if we become part of the U.S., it'll be shared, the debts. I expect they'd have to work all that stuff out. Yeah, I'm trying to find that chat so I can put it up on the screen. I don't know where it went. Too many in there tonight. A lot of people in the chats and a big audience tonight. So thank you for that. Huge audience over on Play TV, which is part of the Parler platform. We had a record audience over there, a record number of views. We're not live. They don't have the capability to go live there, but we've just started to upload content over on Play TV. Record number of viewers. More viewers over there, more views than on any other platform, even far more than Rumble last night. Like 4 times more. Huge numbers. Huge numbers. Let's go to the phone. Go ahead. You're on the air. Who's with us?
It's Isabel again.
Well, what do you do? You love us so much, you just can't stay away. What's going on?
I just seen on Facebook, Michelle Ferreira
Yeah?
just posted that Trudeau's expected to resign before Wednesday's caucus.
Yeah. Well,
That
she's
gonna
a conservative, but she's pretty much in the loop.
Yeah.
And I don't think she's like a high profile conservative. I don't think she would be posting stuff unless it was, coming from a pretty credible source.
Yeah, she's like a Doberman in the government.
Yeah, and on the conservative side, opposition, yeah.
Yeah, she's a real go-getter, real stand-up, and, she says her piece. And with her posting that, I'm like, if it would have been somebody else, I would have thought twice. But with Michelle Ferreira, different story. So something's coming down the pipes. We all know that. But before Wednesday?
Yeah, I've got the post.
Monday and Tuesday.
I have the post right here. I'm going to put it up on the screen. I have regained limited access to Facebook. I was also successful in getting them to remove content that I said Facebook had stolen. I talked about this a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because of the way they treated us, and I filed complaints with them, many letters, a lot of correspondence back and forth. I didn't make a big deal of it online, but I can tell you I was finally successful in getting them to relinquish control of a lot of content that they were still profiting from, but they had cut our access off to through censorship.
Yeah, I remember you saying that on one of your shows.
Yeah, so here's what she posted. It is Trudeau expected to announce resignation before National Caucus meeting Wednesday. So she's reposting this from, must be a media outlet. Robert Fife, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I got. I went, oh, great. That smug little face there. Oh!
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'll sleep well tonight.
So that's, I believe, a Globe and Mail post.
Is that what that is?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. So she's not actually making the prediction herself, but she is sharing this from the Globe and Mail. And this is really the same sources that I've been kind of taking note of as we came into tonight's broadcast as well.
Right.
So there's credibility to this stuff. He knows. Yeah. He knows. Trudeau knows. He's got to go. And I could be tomorrow.
Oh, it would be lovely. I mean, I would have preferred an election to just, watch him get pounded out of the government. But if this is the other way we're going, I still don't see that the Liberals are going to make it. Doesn't matter who they put in there, because they're done. They're so done.
Hey, Isabel, did you see this Islamic conference that is coming up in Mississauga later this month on January 18th? It's being run by or organized by Hizb ut Tahrir. It's an Islamic group that is classified or designated a terror organization in the UK. But in Mississauga, they're actually going to have a conference to talk about, they're actually calling for the overthrow of governments.
Yeah, now is it, and is that I seen a picture and somebody said, this is not our Mississauga. And they had all the flags on the bridge.
Oh, I don't know if that was related directly to this, was it?
I'm not sure. I saw the picture and somebody just posted the caption, this is not our Mississauga.
Yeah, I saw that too.
30 flags on the bridge.
Palestine flags, yeah.
Yeah.
I did see that post. I don't know the full context of it, but yeah, I'm aware.
This is getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
Had this been stopped in the bud, it wouldn't have gotten this far.
Yeah.
And that's why this whole thing has been going on and multiplying, is because our government has allowed it.
Well, and the mayor of Mississauga is trying to stop it. I'm just trying to find the post of this. Here it is here.
Successful stop.
Yeah, I'll put it up on the screen. I did look at the clip. I'm a little reluctant to run it on YouTube because the guy organizing it is literally calling for an uprising for he literally says we have to it's time for us to rise up and overthrow the governments, right? Designated terrorist group to host Islamic supremacy conference in Mississauga is the headline. The Khalifa Conference 2025. And yeah, this guy here, I'll show you his picture. This is the guy behind organizing it. His name is Mazin Abdul Adhim.
Oh my God.
Here.
That's like the picture they had too with I call him Jughead Jagmeet Singh.
Yeah.
Where he was with that other terrorist group, and he's standing with these two guys in this hall, and he's in the middle. And these guys are known as terrorists.
The Khalistanis from India?
Yeah, and he's standing with them getting his picture taken because he was at the damn meeting.
Yes.
And they were calling for armed protest. I'm like, whoa, what? Armed protest?
Yeah. Well, right here, he's got captions up. I'm a little reluctant to let the audio roll.
Wow.
It comes up here if you look at it.
Yeah.
It says this is the time to bring about change. Talk about free Palestine. He says he comes right out and says it.
Yeah.
You can see it in the text.
I can see the captions. I'm like, oh, no. This is crazy.
Stand with all the armies of the Ummah. Still scrolling, still scrolling. We are the members of these who are these members of these armies? Our brothers. Break free of their shackles. We must unite the armies of the Muslim lands under a single Khalifa. Nationalistic solutions. Very fascistic.
Like,
yeah.
It's
all in there.
gone beyond far.
Yeah, I worry.
Yep.
Because it's, we're not accustomed to this kind of stuff in Canada. At least we're becoming accustomed to it. Yeah, the quote here really, and I'll just say it, is, this is the time to overthrow your governments. He literally comes out and says it.
Yeah, this is not who we are. We've always been known as the peaceful nation, and this is with their infiltration, thanks to immigration, thanks to the Liberal Party. This is where we are.
Yeah.
He's never stood up. He's always, well, during the freedom protest, he threw out the goons, because chicken shit had to go run and hide. He couldn't come out like a man or like a leader and talk to the people that would have resolved everything.
Well, I'm worried just all the way around about this stuff because the emotions are running so high. I'm just worried about the violence, that could come with something like this, because we're seeing so much friction in the streets between people, and now the mayor of Mississauga has come out to say that they don't want this in Mississauga. This is called the Khalifa, January 18th, and the exact location at this point is still, I think, being kept secret.
Yeah, because they don't want people to know.
Yeah.
They're going to talk among themselves and get this all ready to go so that any kind of law enforcement or military, we won't know what's going on. So our side's going to be in the dark. This is the whole idea, right? Keep us in the dark. Because I look at the violence, like what we saw in Montreal with them breaking the windows. This is not peaceful protest, and it's never been peaceful protest. It started out, but it was very short, and then it started to get violent, and then they start to close themselves off, and they don't want to talk to people, and they want to run around in secret, while they're brainwashing the younger generation hasn't got a clue, because they're all on social media.
Well,
it became a fad.
I just want everyone to stay safe. I see online too, the emotions, especially people who are upset about like all this stuff coming out of the UK. Elon Musk posting all this stuff about, the gangs in the UK and the children, and man, that has people just livid, right?
Yeah.
And the Tommy Robinson stuff. So people are really, really getting heated. And then you add this event coming up on the 18th into the mix. This is a powder keg, especially after all the protests we've been having, and people are getting frustrated. This is not a good combination.
No, not right now. No. Not ever. But this, it's only going to take one fuse to be lit. And then it's going to be I have relatives that are in Scotland, and I hear about their protests and what's going on over there. And it's scary. We're getting it here, and it's scary. This is just, it's like a fuse. It's like a fuse in every continent, and they're just waiting to light it. They're just waiting to light it. And everybody's going through this on every continent. And we're not ready for this. Like, we're not, like, Europe's not, Britain's not, the States maybe, but they're finding now the enemy within. We have the enemy within, and they're just regrouping now, and they're getting ready to go. And we've had no idea.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. We've got the enemy within, and we have had no idea. And just the more I go into London, and the more I see these groups, it makes me scared because my daughter lives in London. And it makes every corner, on every corner you see these groups. And it makes you don't want to be racist, but you wonder what they're talking about because of the way they look at you. So I get scared when I go into London. If I'm going into London, I'm going directly to one place and back out. And yet I lived in London for almost 20 years. But now it's becoming more prominent. And I hate to think that way, but there's more of them and there's less of us. It's a simple fact. It's a simple fact. I mean, I heard one guy who was talking to Ezra Levant when he interviewed a guy way back in Ottawa, and the guy was asking him, what do you think of gays? And he's like, oh, well, gays, we would kill them because that's not in our religion. That's sinful. We would kill them. But he said, it's okay. He said, because we're here, we are going to multiply. You are not having children. We are having children. We will run Canada one day. And I thought, oh, shit. And that was 2 years ago. And here we are now. And these were protesters for Palestine. And I'm thinking, yeah, they got a plan, all right. They want all the land. And it was just that statement when he said that. And what are we teaching our kids right now? You can go in and you can get, you can change your sex. You can take the blockers. You can get the surgery. You can do this. You can do, and they're being brainwashed to do it. And yes, our population will deplete because they don't believe in that. And they will procreate. They will have children. They'll have multiple children. And yes, the power will change. And it's scary, and people don't see that. They've got them so engaged on this side going, oh, well, this is how it is. Don't worry about it. You can change your sex because you're depressed. We can do this. We can do that. They're brainwashing our children, and they are going to overpower, and now it's coming to fruition. It is scary. It's very scary because these people are trained from a very young age to war.
So I'm understanding that this meeting has moved from Mississauga. So this is actually breaking news. So it's timely for us to bring this up, and I think I've got a clip that I can share with everybody here. So the Caliphate Conference, as it's being termed, has been moved to the city of Hamilton from Mississauga. And we have a clip here. I don't know if this is appropriate to run or not. I haven't vetted it. Let me take a little look here. Just give me a second. Yeah, I don't think that I'll run the clip, but I'll show you something from this post. So yeah, I guess it's been moved. And this is because, of course, they've met some opposition in Mississauga.
So it's the mayor of Mississauga to stand up and say, no, not here.
So yeah, this is the social media post.
Why only the Khilafah will liberate Palestine, everything else is a distraction? Let's here. Since
Okay, so enough of that.
Wow.
So I mean, it's for me, it's just they're literally I've got the clip there, and the guy's literally talking about overthrowing Western governments, right?
Yeah.
So to me, that's not right.
No.
That I don't care what group, what what your religion is, what your political ideology is. If you're talking about violent things, if you're talking about overthrowing governments, like literally talking about it, that's not right. So we've got democracy here for a reason, so that we don't have to do things like that.
Right. So where are the people that will enforce the democracy? Like this is what I don't get. They hear of this. Now, okay, it was moved from Mississauga to Hamilton because they got flack on it. So why isn't Hamilton standing up and giving them flack? So that every place that they go to, they're saying, no, not here, no, not here. So they get the message. I mean, they're literally telling you, we're terrorists. We're going to overthrow your government, whether you like it or not. This is what our plan is. Where's the law? Like, I don't get it. You're putting it out there. Why don't we have the law that steps in and says, no, like, you're not doing that. This is Canada. That's against our laws. I don't get it.
I guess they would, law enforcement needs to gauge what's being said and then respond appropriately.
You would think if they're posting it, somebody would go, wait a minute.
You would think so.
Yeah. And I think this is where our government and our authority is lax. They kind of sit back and go, well, no, step up to the plate. You have to catch it in the bud. Like an unruly child, you have to catch it in the bud. You can't just say, well, that was today, tomorrow they'll be better. No. I'm old school. You caught it right when they did it, and that ended it. And this is what they're not doing, and that's what they haven't done with all these Palestinian protests. They're calling for Antifada. That's death. Then they call for death to Canada. Then they call for death to USA. Wait a minute. Like, come on. This isn't a joke. And this is what gets me. And I listen to this and I go, oh my God, where's our authority? Has it gone that far down the toilet that we just blink an eye and say, well, like, really? They're right in your face. They're telling you what they're going to do. They're going to wait till it happens? Like, these guys aren't joking. These guys are not joking, and that's what's scary. That's what's really scary.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if there's any more information on this decision to move this conference. Just checking in on the mayor's page. Don't know if she's made a comment on this or not.
And just calling it a conference is supposed to take the edge off of what a terrorist is saying. It's not a conference. We're not going there to discuss. We're going there to make plans.
Yeah, and I mean, I have to be fair here. We're going by what has been posted online, right? I don't want to make but the quote is the quote from that social media post. If the gentleman associated with that wants to clarify in some way, he's welcome to appear on the program or reach out to me in some way. I'll send him a note, actually, or try to contact him to find out exactly what it is that they have planned for this conference, because, maybe he wants to clarify things.
What I don't like is it's one thing to protest, but the anger that I hear coming out of these protests, they're not just protests. They're not rallies. It's not a rally anymore. It's violence. And yet you hear people go, oh, it's just a peaceful protest. Are you listening to the words that they're saying? Like, we protested against the establishment in the 60s, down with the establishment, burn your bra, blah, blah, blah. But there was no violence. We were in the time of make love, not war. It's a wonder we didn't have more kids. But, we were in that time of make love, not war. We protested against the Vietnam War when I was a teenager in Canada, and we had some of the draft dodgers come up here because they didn't want to go to war. But there wasn't the violence. And it's in the voices. And it's the chant. It's that rhythmic chant. And the kids that are listening to it online, they're repeating it like it's a song. They have no idea what they're repeating.
That's one of the tricks that they use with political organizations in general when they're trying to indoctrinate people into their ideology, various ideologies, all ideologies, political movements really, is they use chants, music to get people, to participate in it. It just kind of sucks people in. Here's a clip from this organization in Sydney, Australia last October. This is not in Canada, mind you, but this is what was posted over there. Let me show you this. And then I've got something from the Mississauga mayor after this.
Drone. What does he do? He doesn't just chuck it with no purpose. You watch that video carefully. He picks it up and he takes a second with defiant look, and then he musters whatever he's got left so that he can target it at the thing, and he almost hits it. وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذَا رَمَيْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى. If you're following what the resistance has been doing over the past 75 years and the progression that they've had, the aqeedah that they hold, there's no question about their aqeedah, their belief. They live it truly. So for each one of us, the question I would pose to each one of us is, what are you so afraid of that you're unable to speak up, to state the truth? I mean, just to think about October 7th, for example, I found it really interesting that the Zionist narrative, even for people who are pro-Palestine, pro-resistance and all of that, everybody was pausing. They didn't know how to react.
My brothers and my sisters in Islam, we have brothers and sisters in the lands of Ribat, in the lands of Jihad, who are holding the Ummah's honor on their shoulders. They are standing and they're fighting with their blood. They are standing and they're fighting with their children for you and I, so we can walk up one day and say the izzah of Islam, the guarantee of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we will dominate occurred on their hands. Wallahi, that day is coming. Just like it came before, it will come again. Wallahi, I say it again. I am elated. I am happy. Wallahi, I've never seen it ever in my life. The shift and the tide that has occurred over the last year against the Zionist regime. Wallahi, my brothers and my sisters in Islam, victory is coming. And you and I, inshallah, because we love Allah and we love His Prophet, we are on that path to victory. We are on that path of this civilizational struggle where we're going to see Islam dominate. Where we're going to see Islam bring about justice to every corner in the world.
When I fear for my life because there are tyrants there. There are the Zionists, there are their backers, America, the governments all over the world. This was the warning that was sent to Bani Israel. So will we follow in the footsteps of Bani Israel, or will we be warriors on the path to liberate Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa?
Now they are trying to make us scared of saying the word jihad. Ya Allah, choose us and select us to be amongst the mujahideen that would liberate Bayt al-Maqdis, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, choose us as mujahideen, Ya Allah. The soldiers of yours, O Allah. Those soldiers who are not scared from anyone but from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those soldiers who do not fear anyone but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallahi, make the streets of Palestine flow in your blood. Do not ever think and attempt to come back and take over Palestine. The Zionists and their allies must be kicked out of the sacred land of Palestine.
Land is Allah's. He inherits it to whomever He wants.
The ending is coming very soon. The ending is coming very soon. By our hands, and by the hands of our kids. Wallahi, I say to my kids, if I will not make it there to Bayt al-Maqdis, I need you to make sure that you are among the soldiers and the army that will enter it victorious. Wallahi, I say to my kids that I need you to learn about the 15 gates of Bayt al-Maqdis. So when you go there, you know from which gate you will enter. When you go there with the army of Muslims, the victorious army, you know where to go. Wallahi, I teach them the map of Bilad al-Sham. So when they go there, they can make their way to Al-Masjid al-Aqsa easily. This is what I teach my kids.
What message do you have for the kids of Palestine?
They're really free. The Ummah is like one body. If one part of the body has pain, the rest is filled with sleeplessness and fever.
Do you care about them? Do you love them?
Yeah. Free Palestine.
Okay. So that was in Australia. I guess we're going to get something similar to that now in Hamilton.
Yeah.
And the mayor of Mississauga responding to this news. Mississauga mayor is relieved the extreme group, as it's described here, is moving their conference to Hamilton. Any word from Andrea Horvath as she feels about this event potentially happening in Hamilton now? Andrea is the mayor of Hamilton, I believe, and the group is Hizb ut Tahrir. And Carolyn Parrish says, this is the mayor of Mississauga, this very extreme group, she says, are moving on to another city for their January 18th conference. On behalf of all the peaceful and respectful residents of Mississauga, we are relieved.
Yeah. Now Hamilton's going to have to deal with it.
Yes.
And I wonder what their reaction should be the same as Mississauga. No, not here.
So I don't see on Andrea Horvath's Twitter page any kind of response yet. I'm just going to check in the chat here.
Wow.
Steve Harvey says Andrea Horvath spoke her disgust. That's the mayor of Hamilton. I have not seen that yet. And Steve Harvey says, that's absolutely true. Islam has one goal, to rule the world. So, very concerned people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, it's coming very quick. I mean, it's been brewing, and it's been brewing for a while. And then with all the immigration, I mean, when I sat back, I didn't sit back, but when I started hearing about the churches being burned, and we weren't allowed to go to the churches, but they were allowed to go to the mosques, and the mosques were not touched.
It's true. It is true. It happened.
Yep. The mosques weren't touched, and they were not quarantined. They were still going to the mosque when we couldn't, our people couldn't go to church. We were banned from going to church. That one guy, I forget the preacher's name again, the one that told the Nazis to get out of his church.
Arthur Pawlowski, who's been on the program a few times. Yep.
Yes. When Arthur Pawlowski was charged for even doing it in the parking lot,
Mm-hmm.
they were still trooping to the mosque. And I said to people, I said, like, don't you understand what's going on? Like, can you not see? Oh, well, that's their lifestyle. Oh, well, wait a minute. We're not allowed to go to church. We're not allowed to congregate, but they can go into a mosque. And nobody says anything.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but mosques weren't being burnt, but churches were. Wait a minute. And that started my brain then, thinking, okay, this is becoming an evil against good war. And it's starting. And they're infiltrating the country, and they're bringing their ideals. Well, then we got the protest. They're allowed to protest, but we weren't allowed to protest.
That's true, too. That did happen.
So, I mean, like, Trudeau has allowed the evil into the country, and now he can't curtail it. And he doesn't want to stand up against it because he thought he would lose votes. Well, you lost the votes anyway because we don't want you as Canadians. So if you thought that was going to help you, it's not going to help you.
Yeah, Brian is posting in the chat saying the Caliphate Conference could be postponed until January 27th, Holocaust Remembrance Day.
Wow. How about we just postpone it altogether and, outlaw it? I'm sorry, this is Canada. And I don't want to sound racist. Can I go to their country and protest?
I wouldn't recommend going there.
No. This is the thing, and I say that to people. I said, wait a minute, I can't go there and bring my values and my customs to their country. I have to fall in line. That's their country. Probably get stoned to death if I did, knowing because I had no filter on my mouth. But they can come here?
Well, yeah. Look, I have people in my neighborhood. Some of my neighbors are Muslim. I don't have any problems here, but and I've got my neighbors' friends. Right, I speak to them all the time. Very, very friendly. We get along. They are friends, and great neighbors. But this stuff is not that.
No, these are radical.
So
these are definitely radicals. And I mean, we have radicals in all races.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just, it's multiplying so quick.
Yeah.
Especially with social media. They're pulling people in and allowing them to go to certain websites, and they're sharing certain websites with this information, and they're just feeding these minds that are not mature minds. But you can see that these radicals raise their children this way. They raise them with a hate. It's like the Time magazine picture it showed you back in the day where they were standing with the guns on the Time magazine cover. Mm-hmm. And the guy on Fox said, you do realize that these kids that were standing there with that artillery are now adults. You do understand that, right? He said, so this didn't just start now. These people were raised this way. They were raised with a hate.
Yeah.
It's embedded.
Yeah, I've been following this story for the past couple of days. I noticed the headlines surface about 2 days ago on this, and we didn't get to it until tonight, but it's obviously a hot button issue.
Yeah. Well, like Vaughn is saying on there, how can they even have a conference like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like literally on Canadian soil. And post it.
Yeah.
Publicize it. Like, if you're going to publicize it, then, you do the crime, you do the time. The authority needs to step in and swoop this. Because now they're putting it in your face. It's a temptation. This is what we're going to do. What are you going to do about it? Then they need to step up to the plate like they did in Mississauga. This is what we're going to do about it. I mean, they pushed it out of the city. It moved it, but it didn't stop it. So still the authority needs to be there. You need to say, no, you're not doing this on this soil. If you're going to do this, then we're going to round you up because you're propaganding terrorism here.
Well, my position on this has always been the same, and that is that we have laws. Mm-hmm. They need to be applied. They need to be applied evenly to all people, regardless of what organization, what your political group is, what your skin color is, what your religion is. It doesn't matter. If we have laws to protect the public, to keep people safe, then we just need to enforce our laws and to enforce them evenly so that it's equal application of the law to everyone. It's just that simple.
Yes, and our laws have been applied to the chosen ones, the ones that were on opposition to the government. The laws were applied to them severely, and yet the rest, like this is real terrorism here, and so are the Palestinian protests. They're pushing to get rid of a people, and then they call for death to countries. Okay, this is no longer just a peaceful protest. Now we're going to apply the law, and this is what's going to happen. Whether you're green, yellow, polka dot, rainbow, I don't care. If you're protesting to hurt people, then you have to be dealt with lawfully, yes. And that didn't happen. And this is where we are. Like, I don't get it.
And I'm just seeing more posts about this on other social media platforms. Really no other new information about it, but a lot of people pretty upset about it. I'm seeing posts on Reddit with people from the community there expressing concerns about it tonight. Still, I don't see any actual response from the mayor, Andrea Horvath, who used to be the leader of the Ontario New Democratic Party. Actually, I've met her a few times.
Yeah, it's it's a scary thought. Like I said, we've been known to be a peaceful nation, and I don't want to see an uprising between, and how do you say it, between the law-abiding and the radicals. And if they get pushed, there's some people out there we know are going to cross the line.
Yeah, well, I just hope everybody stays safe.
Yes, me too. I hope everybody stays safe. I just, I mean, it's a scary thought. The law needs to step in. The law definitely needs to step in. They're there to protect us, and they're there to deal with this. This is radicalism. This is terrorism.
Well,
Therefore, warning you, here we come.
We've seen other people make comments online that have resulted in charges.
Yes.
We've seen people talk about doing things like that, overthrowing the government, and they've been charged.
Yes. There were other comments where was made towards, if you remember, one of the parliamentary members, and the police went to the door.
Yes.
And they were charged.
Yes.
And he didn't even leave his house. He wasn't even out on the street. He did it online.
Yeah, well, we've seen other incidents too where police have been called to, or have attended a home or two of various people who have made comments about politicians in Canada and the government. That's brought police to their door. And sometimes charges are not laid. They just have a conversation and make sure that the person isn't thinking anything too radical, just to make sure that everybody stays safe. And we've seen social media posts like that as well. So I don't know. Police will have to assess, and hopefully they treat it in the professional manner that they're supposed to, and with even discretion.
And this is the thing. Like just making a post can get the police come to your door, but these guys are posting terrorist acts. You would hope that the authorities are going to step in before anything goes awry.
And I think Justin Trudeau has to bear most of the responsibility for where we are at with this tonight. Not only with what's going on with regard to the protests in the streets, with regard to this caliphate conference that's coming up, but also he has to bear responsibility for, even to some degree, what Trump is doing and the rhetoric that he's leveling at Canada, the 51st state stuff, the 25% tariff threat. Trudeau has, with his policies, has created the conditions where Canada is in a position of weakness. And Isabel, I have another call coming in, so I have to jump off.
Okay, you have a great night, Rick.
You too. See ya. Bye. Go ahead. You're on the air.
It's Sandy.
Sandy, you can't get enough of us tonight either. I'm glad you called
I'm with
back, though.
Isabel. I'm with Isabel.
Okay.
I agree with everything she says.
All right. Well, I wish
If
you'd
I
agree with
tell you
everything
now,
I say.
No, because I'm going to start getting in a rage, and I'm going to swear.
Oh,
I'm going
don't
to
do
curse.
that. No.
And you don't want to hear it.
Good. I don't. You know why? Because it's the end of the night. And what we really need from you, Sandy, more than anything and more than ever before, is we need you to, with your sweet, sunshiny voice, to shed light upon us all tonight and say something really positive, uplifting, to raise our spirits and leave us all in a positive frame of mind. Can you do that for us as we prepare to sign off tonight? Miss
We live in a
Sunshine.
democracy.
There you go. Simple as that. We live in a democracy.
Democracy. Democracy.
There you go. That is brilliant stuff, Sandy. You know what? That is absolutely fantastic. And
We will talk, my friend.
yeah, thank you for doing that, because we all need to be very grateful that we live in a free society, in a liberal democracy is what they would refer to this as, where we don't need to worry about, we don't need to engage in overthrowing the government. We just need to vote them out when they misbehave. And tomorrow, Sandy, could be a milestone day. If Justin Trudeau resigns, it could, I guess, open the chapter, or open the or turn the page, I should say.
I
to
really
a whole new
hope he
chapter.
gets up, he wakes up, he goes outside and walks in the snow in his bare feet.
In his bare feet. Okay, for our American friends who don't understand, Justin Trudeau's father, years and years ago, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, took a walk in the snow and decided during his walk in the snow on that evening that he was going to resign as prime minister. And I suspect Justin Trudeau is taking that same sort of stroll, if not literally, then in his mind. And we'll find out what his decision is.
I'm keeping a journal, my friend. And Isabel said earlier in the evening she has red hair.
And your hair.
Her hair is red.
And that's,
my hair is on fire.
That's right. Your hair is on fire.
My hair
because
is on effing fire.
Fire. Because you are just full of energy and determination and a little bit of anger.
I am full of peace.
Yeah.
I am full of you have no idea what I'm so full of.
Yeah, sunshine tonight. You're just spreading the
yes,
light.
even though the moon is out, it's sunny.
And just okay, one last thing, okay? We're gonna run the
Maybe
free.
we should do a walk in the sun one day.
I'm gonna do a walk in the snow and the ice and the cold in a minute with Cosmo.
I know it, Cosmo boy. Oh my gosh, I adopted him. I adopted you both. You're my family now.
Well, I'm gonna throw it to you so you can introduce the Free Dog song to take us out of tonight's broadcast. You go ahead.
Freedom Boy Cosmo, this tune's for you.
There you go. Love you, Sandy. Love you, Mavericks. See you guys all back here tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern on the...
Standard Time and Canada Time.
Yeah, that's right. And you get the honors here tonight. So we'll see everybody on the...
Right.
I heard old Cosmo howling last night up on the hill where the moon shines so bright. He was singing a tune, lonesome dogs cry about freedom, running and touching the sky. free, running wild, wild as a wind can be. He's a free dog. He's a free dog. He's a free dog. He's got the stars in his eyes, the wind in his fur, a tail that wags like it's never heard of a blur. Cosmos on a journey, he's got no chains. He's running through fields, breaking all the lanes. Now the night's getting cold and the sky's turning gray, but Cosmos still out there, he's miles away. He's not looking back, he's got his path to tread. With every step, he's leaving his bed. If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? Cosmos free, running wild, wild as a wind can be. He's a free dog. He's a free dog. He's a free dog. So if you're feeling lost, just think of Cosmos Run. Remember his spirit, his freedom, his fun. And maybe one day, when you're feeling alone, you'll find your own freedom and let your spirit go. If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? Cosmos free, running wild, wild as a wind can be. He's a free dog. He's a free dog. He's a free dog. Eyes, the wind in his fur, a tail that wags like it's never heard of a bird, a heart full of love and a spirit so free. He's living his life wild and carefree. He's got the stars in his eyes, the wind in his fur, a tail that wags like it's never heard of a bird. Cosmos on a journey, he's got no chains. He's running through fields, breaking all the lanes.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.